Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If Guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Issei made a deal with Red Dragon Emperor. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Two children, both 8 years old, were playing tag in a park. It was rather empty with just the two of them around, with a few other people jogging or walking their dogs. There were lots of trees and 4 wooden benches scattered around the park. The sun was beginning to set, dyeing the sky a light orange. "Haha Issei, you will never catch me, slowpoke," teased one of the children. The child had a cute, high-pitched voice with violet eyes and light brown hair, with a few bangs coming forward, with a little tied back into a scruffy ponytail, while the rest was in a spiky mess. The child was also wearing slightly worn white sneakers, mid-calf length socks, along with a pair of dark brown shorts reaching mid-thigh, and a sleeveless dark blue shirt with yellow-colored bands around the neck and shoulder area. "Oh yeah, just you wait Irina, I'll get you," shouted the other child. This child's voice was also high-pitched, but not as high-pitched as the other child and was slightly more masculine. He had light brown eyes and messy brown hair. He also wore sneakers, but his were red. Like the other child, he also wore mid-calf length socks, along with blue shorts reaching mid-thigh and a white shirt with a red collar. Issei eventually caught up to Irina and jumped at her, only for Irina to sidestep and Issei to slam face first into a tree. "Ouchie," mumbled a sniffling Issei, beginning to tear up. Issei kissed a tree," giggled Irina before laughing. Issei pouted before he too started to laugh at the funny thought that he had kissed a tree. After a while, the pair stopped laughing and Issei pounced on Irina, sending her to the ground. He hovered over her triumphantly, holding her arms down. "Hey, I got you," said Issei cheerfully as he stood up. "Moo, no fair Issei, you cheated," pouted Irina, crossing her arms with a small huff. "Well, too bad, you laughed at me hitting a tree and got distracted, so I win," said Issei, before sticking his tongue out. "Bene," said Irina with a small pout, which slowly turned into a smile, before she lunged at Issei and held him down in the same position she had been in before. "Oh, I got you back," said Irina, sticking her tongue out at Issei before getting off him. "Fine, you win this time." "Wow, look, the sun is really low, we better go home soon," said Issei, as he shielded his eyes with his hand as he looked out at the sun. "Okay, let's go," said Irina as she started walking off, with Issei following. After walking for a while, the sun had set lower, casting a dark red and eerie glow. Issei was looking around as they walked, noticing less and less people around. "Hey Irina, don't you think it is weird that the streets are so empty?" asked Issei, raising his concerns. Not really, but we are almost home now anyway, so what does it matter?" replied Irina. "I don't know, but I'm getting a bad feeling," said Issei. "Line break. Is it the child?" asked a figure atop a building, looking down at the 2 8-year-old children. "I believe so, she matches the description and even seems to exude a small holy aura," replied another figure disdainfully. "So can we move now?" asked the first figure in a gruff and irritated tone. "Yes," said the second figure with a malicious grin. "Line break. See Issei, we are just 2 streets away now, nothing to worry about after all, the Lord is protecting us," said Irina cheerfully. "Ah yes, that must mean you are the girl we have been looking for without a doubt," said a man, who literally dropped down from the sky. "Oh, who are you? An angel?" asked Irina with childlike curiosity. The figure who was covered in a black cloak laughed, before pulling the headpiece off, revealing black hair, dark red eyes, and a rather angular face. "No little girl, I am in fact the furthest thing from an angel," said the being, before 2 black, bat-like wings burst from his back. "I am a devil," said the figure. Irina gasped, while Issei's jaw dropped for entirely different reasons. "Irina is a girl," thought Issei in surprise, looking at his childhood friend in disbelief. "You're bad," said Irina, breaking Issei from thinking on this new revelation, while pointing at the devil, which caused him to laugh. "Yes, you're right, I am bad, as you say, and I am here for you," said the devil as he pointed at Irina. "What do you want with Irina?" asked Issei as he stood slightly in front of Irina protectively. "Girl or boy, Irina is my friend. My best friend," thought Issei firmly. "Haha, you are quite brave, aren't you little boy?" said the devil mockingly. "Well, since you are just kids, I don't mind telling you. I am here to take the girl hostage and force her father to relinquish his holy sword to us," said the devil as his partner dropped down behind the 2 children, scaring them even more at the thought of not just 1, but 2 devils being here. "Why do you want a holy sword? Devils are bad and a holy sword is good," asked Irina in confusion. "You are very simple-minded, aren't you? Then again though, you are just a brat," mocked the devil, before laughing. After regaining himself, he tapped his chin in mock thought. "Well, if I am bad and a holy sword is good, what do you think I will do him, little girl?" asked the devil. "You want to destroy it, don't you?" said Issei. "So I guess you are the brains in this group, interesting. Although you are correct, we want to destroy it, something our king is too cowardly to try," said the devil scornfully. "You have a king?" asked Issei in confusion, but still keeping his guard up. "Oh, it seems I've said too much, although then again, we only need the girl, you my dear boy are expendable," said the devil maliciously, before sticking his right arm out and releasing a compressed ball of energy, which shot at Issei. Issei pushed Irina out of the way and dived to the other side, the ball passing between them before exploding into flames as it hit a nearby streetlight. "Lucky you actually dodged that, but now you're finished," said the devil, before launching 2 balls, which struck Issei, burning him and sending him into the building the devil had previously been standing on. "Ugh," cried out Issei in pain at the searing burns across his torso. "Issei, what's going on? Why is no one coming to help us?" said Irina in fear, eyes starting to tear up. "Oh, no one can see or hear any of us right now. In fact, anyone looking in this direction will see an empty street, which means you're all alone and no one can help you," said the devil. Irina started to pray before the second devil grabbed her from behind in a one-arm chokehold and used his other hand to cover her mouth. Issei stood back up in pain, breathing heavily. "So much pain. I feel like I'm dying," thought Issei weakly, unknowingly rousing a being from its sleep. "I have to save Irina," thought Issei, before he picked up a nearby rock which he threw at the devil holding Irina, only for the other devil to vaporize it with another ball of fire. "Foolish little boy, you can't stop me. In fact, the only reason you are still alive is because I find your attempts to fight us amusing," said the devil tauntingly. "No, I will stop you. I will save Irina," said Issei firmly with a huff. Well, let's see just how many hits you can take. Here is number 3, said the devil in amusement as he launched another ball of fire at Issei, which was much faster than the ones before. "Ugh," cried Issei in pain as he felt the ball explode into flames and slowly burn his already damaged skin. "Now 5, said the devil gleefully, launching 2 more balls of energy, hitting Issei again and burning what was left of his shirt off, while inflicting weak burns to his arms and even stronger ones to his chest. "No, it can't end like this. Irina, my friend. I don't want to lose my best friend," thought Issei weakly. "How far would you be willing to go to save your friend?" asked a deep voice, which Issei didn't recognize. "What? Who is that?" thought Issei in confusion. "I can give you the power to survive this, it will come at a cost though," said the voice. "You can? How?" asked Issei. "What? Only 5? Ah, such a shame, and I had such high expectations," taunted the devil as Issei dropped to his knees, unaware of the conversion he was currently having in his mind. "I guess I will just have to finish this then," said the devil as he started gathering power in his hand once again, causing the muted Irina's eyes to widen in panic. "Yes, if you give me your left arm, I will be able to give you enough power to survive this next attack and flee with your life," said the voice. "No, I can't run away, I have to save Irina. She is my best friend. Even if I didn't know she was a girl until today, she is still my best friend," thought Issei furiously. "I don't know if your arm will be enough to beat these 2 devils, you are only a child," said the voice in thought. "If that's the only problem, I will give you anything, even my heart. I can't let my friend be killed," thought Issei strongly. "Are you sure? This isn't exactly a small sacrifice to make," said the voice in surprise. "Yes, if it gives me enough strength to save my friend, it is worth it. I won't lose my friend because I was scared. If all it takes is me sacrificing my heart, I will gladly do it," thought Issei as tried to get back to his feet. This one is different. He is only a child, but already has a strong sense of self-sacrifice. This might just be interesting, thought the voice in Issei's head. "Very well, say these words then," said the voice. Issei stood back up, causing the devil to momentarily pause powering up his attack. "Oh, you stood up? Impressive. What say you're mumbling?" said the devil in surprise, which quickly turned to confusion. "I, Issei Hayaru, carrier of the Red Dragon Emperor, pledge my mortal heart to the Heavenly Dragon. I who will walk the path of righteousness and protect those close to me and crush those who oppose me. Awaken boosted gear. Shine forth over boost," chanted Issei, whilst Dragon over booster echoed a gauntlet which suddenly appeared on Issei's left arm, before spreading over his whole body, leaving him entirely clad in red. The red garb was a plate armor with the motif of a dragon, with 2 green jewels covering his left arm, 1 over the hand and just before the elbow, 2 more green jewels on his right arm in the same places as his left, jewels on both of his knees and shoulders, and 1 large green jewel over where his heart would be in the center of his torso, just under his chest and above his abdominals. The whole armor had a sharp shape, as well as what appeared to be yellow fangs jutting out from the elbow, neck, and front of his shoulders, with 2 more just under his eyes. Lastly, over Issei's head was an angular dragon-like visor, with the eyes appearing to be green crystals. "What is this?" said the first devil as he unconsciously backed up. The second devil threw Irina to the side and moved to stand next to his partner. "Quickly, you can only be in this form for 2 seconds or you will die," said the same voice from before. "2 is plenty," thought Issei as he copied what the devil had been doing previously and created a tiny ball of red energy in his left hand. "Dragon shot," shouted Issei as the small ball of red energy exploded outwards in a massive cylinder of energy, reaching half a meter in diameter and blasting through a chunk of both devils' midsections. After the energy plowed through them, the armor around Issei vanished and he dropped to his knees before slumping headfirst and passing out. "Ugh, cough beaten by some lousy kid," said the devil, before coughing out a large amount of blood, before collapsing ungracefully and dying along with his comrade. Irina was absolutely gobsmacked and had no idea what had just happened. Irina walked over to Issei before dragging him up and slinging his arm around her shoulders. "Moo, Issei, huff, why do you have to be so heavy?" said Irina rhetorically as she tried to lift the unconscious boy. Irina walked slowly in the direction of her house. After a short distance, she looked back and saw both bodies had vanished without a trace. Line break. Inside Issei's mind. Line break. "Where am I?" said Issei in confusion, finding himself surrounded by black in every direction. "Well, I suppose technically this is your mind, although it would be slightly more accurate to say your left hand, with your mind and consciousness projected into it," said the same voice from before. "Not that I'm not happy that you helped me save Irina, but who are you?" questioned Issei meekly. "Didn't you pay attention to what you chanted?" "I am a heavenly dragon, the Red Dragon Emperor, although I guess since we are going to be together for at least a bit longer, I can tell you that my name is D-Drag," said the voice. Mr. Dragon, I mean D-Drag. Can you show yourself or something? It feels weird talking to you but not seeing you," asked Issei. Why not?" said D-Drag, before the black area turned dark red, following which, flames burst up from an area in front of Issei as a figure rose from the flames, until a large red western dragon with green eyes was revealed. "Wow, you are huge," said Issei with a gobsmacked expression. "Well, I am a dragon. In fact, before I was sealed, I was one of the strongest beings in existence," stated D-Drag with pride. After a while of Issei staring at D-Drag and taking in his size, D-Drag spoke. "There is something we need to discuss," said D-Drag seriously. "What is it, D-Drag?" asked Issei, tilting his head to the side. "Well, you are now no longer fully human," said D-Drag, seeing no reason to sugarcoat things. What? How? Why?" questioned Issei rapidly, before D-Drag grunted, grabbing his attention. "Well, you remember how you said you would give up your heart?" asked D-Drag, getting a nod from Issei. "Well, you gave up your human heart and now have a dragon's heart," said D-Drag, getting Issei's jaw to drop. "The reason I suggested your left arm as a sacrifice instead of your heart was it would still leave you largely human. However, it wouldn't have given you enough power to take out those devils. The reason I needed your heart was because nothing else would have given you enough power to defeat them. Therein lays the reason as to why you are not truly, fully human," said D-Drag slowly. "So does that mean I am going to grow scales and fangs and become a massive dragon with wings?" asked Issei in worry, only for D-Drag to laugh, although it sounded more like a booming gravely echo. "No, you will still look exactly like a human. You see, in giving me your heart and gaining a dragon heart, the rest of your body now must compensate for the change, making you a humanoid dragon of sorts. You see, simply put, since your heart pumps blood through your body, your life fluid, the rest of your body has now changed slightly because of it," said D-Drag thoughtfully. What do you mean?" asked Issei in confusion. "Well, for instance, from now on, your skin will be slightly thicker than a normal human skin would be, your muscles and bones will develop slightly differently, being much harder, allowing you to be stronger and faster. Aside from that, nothing too major, like your vision, hearing, and sense of smell being a little stronger than they would have been," explained the Welsh dragon. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. If I am stronger, I will be able to protect Irina better next time," said Issei simply. D-Drag smiled slightly at this, seeing that the boy was taking the situation rather well. "There is one downside though," said D-Drag, gaining Issei's attention once again. "Dragons are powerful creatures which are greatly admired, respected, and feared, and thus generally draw people towards them. With you technically being dragon, or at least not a human, but rather a human-dragon hybrid of sorts, in addition with you possessing one of the strongest dragons to ever exist, this means that you will too, just like all dragons, attract many people who will be drawn to your power. However, while strong allies will be drawn to you, so will strong enemies," said D-Drag gravely. "Well then, I just need to make sure I get stronger to make sure that I can beat these bad guys," said Issei childishly. Well, first you need to wake up. I suggest taking it easy for a while until your body can adjust to your new heart, also. The changes I told you about will take a few years before they develop, so enjoy being a soft, squishy human while it still lasts," said D-Drag mockingly. "Hey, there is nothing wrong with being soft and squishy. Soft and squishy stuff are the best, much better than hard stuff," said Issei, not knowing that in the future his words would have an entirely new meaning. "Whatever, enjoy it while it lasts," said D-Drag uncaringly, before motioning for Issei to go away. "But before I go, how can I talk to you after this?" asked Issei. "Well, you won't be able to for the next week or so while your mind adjusts due to my spirit awakening, although after that, you will be able to talk to me through your left hand. I will be able to speak from it and you will be able to speak to me through it," said D-Drag. Okay, weird. Talk to you later then," said Issei, before closing his eyes and trying to wake up. Line break. Ugh, such a headache, groaned Issei as he sat up, only to be promptly tackled by Irina and pushed back down onto the bed. "Issei, you're awake," said Irina happily, with tears in her eyes. "Yeah, why, what's going on?" "I wasn't sleeping for that long, was I?" asked Issei, tilting his head to the side in confusion. "Well, not really, but you have been asleep for the past 12 hours, said Irina, slightly embarrassed. What's wrong then? Why do you look so sad? Said Issei, noticing Irina's puffy red eyes. Well, before. I didn't get to tell you yesterday, but I'm moving to England, said Irina sadly. Oh, but that's not for a while, right? Asked Issei hopefully. Irina sadly shook her head and looked to be on the verge of tears again. No, I am leaving this afternoon, Irina said sadly. Issei adopted a downcast expression at hearing his best and only friend was moving to England, today no less, meaning he wouldn't be able to spend any more time with her. Issei wallowed in his sadness for a short time before perking up as a smile started to spread across his face. That's okay, I'll just have to make sure we see each other again. No matter what, said Issei, pumping his fist awkwardly as Irina still had him pinned down. Do you really mean that? Asked Irina hopefully as she sat up, allowing Issei to do the same. You bet, said Issei with a smile. Issei, about yesterday, what were you saying about a dragon, your heart in heaven? It sounded confusing. Asked Irina. Well, it turns out that there is some big red dragon inside me, and he is called a heavenly dragon, and he gave me the power to save both of us from those devils yesterday, said Issei happily, before his smile diminished somewhat. Although, because I am still a kid, I needed to give something to the dragon so my body could handle the power, so I, gave him my heart, said Issei, trailing off as he saw Irina's eyes start to build up with tears. What's wrong, Irina? Asked Issei, before Irina tackled him again and started crying into Issei's shoulder. Poor Issei. Why did you give up your heart to a meanie dragon? What if he tries to eat you or something? Cried Irina. No, he won't eat me. He seemed really nice. Besides, it isn't that bad. He said that because I gave up my heart, I will become really strong later on and be able to beat any bad guys that try to attack us ever again, said Issei hurriedly, trying to stop Irina's tears. Really, he won't try to eat you? Asked Irina with a sniffle. Yeah, I'll be fine, no dragon will eat me, said Issei proudly, getting a small giggle from Irina. Okay, she said with a smile. Line break. Worry not, you two, you will meet again. I guarantee it, thought a voice, who was watching the events occurring at the current time. Line break. It was now late in the afternoon and Issei was saying goodbye to Irina while their parents did the same. So I guess this is goodbye for now, said Issei awkwardly, not knowing what to say. Irina nodded her head with a wistful smile. It's okay though, isn't it? We promised we would see each other again, right? Said Irina, her smile widening somewhat. Yeah, you're right, said Issei with a small smile. Before I go though, I want to give you something, said Irina as she fumbled around in her pockets and pulled out a small locket. It was in the shape of a love heart and was made of silver with a small gold cross. The chain was also made of silver. So you don't forget about me until I come back and see you, explained Irina before she handed him the locket, before turning around and walking away in the direction of the taxi, which would take her and her parents to the airport. Issei stared at the locket for a while, before he heard a car horn beep and looked up to see Irina waving goodbye, which he reciprocated until he could no longer see the car. Issei looked back at the locket, before slipping it around his neck and letting it fall under his shirt. Don't worry, Irina, I definitely won't forget my best friend, Issei thought confidently, before walking back to his house. Line break. Time skip of 9 years. Line break. Sai Matsuda, Madohama, don't you guys ever feel bad, or even get bored of this? Asked Issei, as he sat on a ledge, resting his face in his palm with a bored expression, as he watched two of his closest friends peep on the girls of the kendo club. Come on, Issei, you should know the answer to that already, replied Matsuda with a grin. Matsuda was known as the perverted baldy due to his shaved head and open declaration of being a lolicon. Did you ever think that if maybe you didn't peep so frequently on everyone, you might have girlfriends by now? Issei suggested tiredly. Never. There is nothing wrong with peeping, said Madohama with a creepy grin as his glasses glinted, giving him a very eerie look. Madohama was the smarter of the duo and possessed the ability to calculate a female's body measurements just by looking, which earned him nicknames such as Perverted Glasses and 3 Sizes Scouter. Both wore the standard Kyo boys uniform. Did you hear that? Asked a girl's voice from within the girls' kendo club changing room. Eep, later Issei, see you at lunch, said Matsuda before he and Madohama ran off. Issei sighed heavily and buried his face in his hands before giving a small chuckle. Those guys will never change, mumbled Issei before he felt something thrown in his direction, which he quickly grabbed. It was a kendo stick and there were at least 10 girls with kendo sticks in front of him. Sorry ladies, I don't think they will ever stop, said Issei half-heartedly as he stood up and took a stance. Why do you hang out with those perverts anyway? Asked Murayama, a brunette with a front fringe and 2 long side bangs, going down to the left and right side of her face, with the rest held back in a ponytail with a red ribbon. Well, they may have no shame, but they do have some good qualities. Plus, they are my friends. Besides, I can't really fault them for wanting to see pretty girls, said Issei with a shrug, getting a few blushes. Why don't you ever peep on us then, huh? Asked Cadiz, who had pink hair and also had 2 long side bangs going down the left and right side of her face, although hers were thinner than Murayama's, with a white band on the top of her head. Issei unknowingly clutched the locket which he wore under his shirt. I have my reasons, I guess, said Issei, as he gripped his kendo stick firmly and lowered himself into a stance. Well, why do you keep covering for those perverts anyway? You could still be friends with them without letting them peep, asked Murayama, slightly frustrated at never being able to beat up the people who actually peeped on her. Well, this way everybody wins, said Issei, confusing the girls. This way they get to peep, you get to vent your frustration, and I get to spar with all of you, said Issei with a lopsided grin before the girls charged him. Just another Friday as usual, thought Issei in amusement. Line break. Akino, what do you think of him? Said a red-headed figure as she and the aforementioned Akino watched Issei skillfully dodge and lightly strike the girls of the kendo club. The figure belonged to a young woman who appeared to be in her late teens with a buxom figure, a light skin tone, and blue-green eyes. Her most distinctive feature was her long, crimson-red hair, which reached down to her thighs, with a single hair strand sticking out from the top. Her hair also had loose bangs covering her forehead and side bangs framing her face. She wore the standard Kyo Academy girls' school uniform, which consisted of a white, long-sleeved, button-down shirt with a black ribbon on her shirt collar, worn under a black shoulder cape, and a matching button-down corset, a magenta skirt with white accents, and brown dress shoes over white crew-length socks. He definitely isn't completely human and has a very strong aura about him. It's rather intoxicating to say the least, said Akino. Akino was a buxom young woman who appeared to be the same age as the figure, with long black hair and violet eyes. Her hair was tied in a long ponytail, reaching all the way down to her legs, with two antennae-like locks of hair sticking out from the top and sloping backwards, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place. Like the figure, she too wore the customary Kyo Academy girls' school uniform, along with black knee-high socks. Do you suppose he is a fallen angel or an angel, as I would know if a devil was in this territory? Asked the red-headed girl. No, he definitely isn't a fallen angel or an angel. Why the sudden interest? Rias, does the big, bad king have a crush? Teased Akino. No, although keep an eye on him, I have a feeling the fallen angels may target him soon, said Rias coolly. Line break. Issei was walking home and staring at a flyer he had just been given by a figure with a strange magical aura. So D-Drag, what do you think? Summoning circle, thought Issei, having learned how to communicate with D-Drag telepathically instead of having to talk at his left hand all the time. It seems to be the case. After all, you have felt the high energy of the devils in your school, haven't you? Replied Issei. Issei's grip tightened on the flyer without him realizing, before he relaxed his grip. Yeah, thought Issei, before snapping out of his thoughts due to a girl approaching him. The girl was in a school uniform, which consisted of a dark red jacket with the letter P embroidered in gold, a white undershirt, a red bow, and a green skirt, with a thin white strip around the lower end of it. She had long black hair that fell to her hips and violet eyes. Issei was vaguely aware that she had asked him out on a date, but was focusing more on her aura. Definitely a fallen angel, thought Issei. You're right, although, what do you intend to do? Asked D-Drag. Well, I suppose I could agree to take her on a date. I don't have a lot of information on the fallen angel faction, thought Issei, internally weighing up his options. After a bit of thought, he snapped out of it and smiled at the girl in front of him. Sure, said Issei. Line break. The next day. Line break. Issei took the fallen angel going by the name of Yuma Amano out to a clothing store, where he bought her a small scrunchy-like purple bracelet, before going to a family restaurant for ice cream. Issei was observing her throughout the date, and while it seemed as though she was having fun, she seemed to be acting fairly reserved, almost as though she didn't want to enjoy herself. At the culmination of the date, both were standing in front of a fountain as the sun began to set in the background. Issei, in commemoration of our first date, will you honor my request? Will you die for me? The fallen angel asked, before shedding her clothing as two black wings shot from her back. In the process of transforming, she grew taller, taking on a more mature appearance. Her eyes changed, taking on a darker, more evil look. Her clothing also changed dramatically, now consisting of black, strap-like objects, resembling leather, around and under her breasts, a thong-like piece held around her hips by three thin straps, gloves that ran right up her arms, with small lengths of chains hanging from them, shoulder guard-like objects on her shoulders, with three large spikes sprouting from her right shoulder, and black thigh-high, high-heeled boots. Her voice also tumbled to a lower pitch. Damn D-Drag, did you see what I just saw? She was completely naked for a good 3 seconds. For a show like that, I'll humor her for the next minute, thought Issei, mind slightly numb at seeing the fallen angel in all her glory. Perverted idiot, grumbled D-Drag. I am Rainier, a fallen angel, and now you will die, said the fallen angel, before a purple spear of light phased into existence, which she threw straight at Issei's heart. Wow, that was such a slow throw. Just for that, I am only humoring her for another 10 seconds. Did she actually think she could kill me with an attack that slow? Thought Issei, slightly miffed at being underestimated to such an extent. Sorry about that. I did enjoy our time together, but you were a threat to us, so started Rainier, before Issei cut her off. 10, said Issei as he pulled the spear out of his chest before throwing it to the side. Rainier gasped in shock, but was even more shocked when the gaping hole left by her spear of light was filled by the presence of a new heart, before his flesh knitted itself over until the hole was closed up and his chest was revealed completely unscathed. Really, fallen angel, don't be so surprised. You should have made sure you did your research on the threat to the rest of you so this wouldn't happen. Truth be told, if you had attacked me 9 years ago, you may very well have succeeded. But no, said Issei, as his sacred gear materialized on his left hand, taking the appearance of a fearsome red, dragon-like gauntlet, with a large green jewel embedded into the section of the gauntlet covering his hand, with 2 yellow fang-like protrusions coming off it near the section covering Issei's elbow. I had some reservations for what I was planning on doing to you, although, after you just tried to kill me, I don't have them anymore, said Issei, glaring menacingly at the now fearful fallen angel. What are you doing? Stop, shouted Rainier, after Issei started to approach her, before she threw another spear of light at him, which he easily sidestepped. Although, I am definitely going to have to train you, said Issei sinisterly. No, stay away, shouted Rainier, as she flapped her wings and tried to fly away. Boost, said Issei, which his gauntlet mimicked, before he disappeared in a burst of speed and reappeared in front of Rainier, before he landed a heavy right jab to her midsection, sending her crashing into the pavement. Issei dropped down on the edge of the fountain, while the fallen angel tried to crawl away in fear. Say goodnight, little fallen angel, said Issei, before he smashed an axe kick into Rainier's back, knocking her out. Issei Hayadu, bind the fallen angel known as Rainier to me for eternity, said Issei, as he placed his left hand, gauntlet and all, on Rainier's back, before a red circle surrounded by and filled with numerous kanji and formulas appeared over her downed form. After the circle receded, Issei stood up and pulled out the flyer he had received yesterday. Just one last thing to take care of, said Issei, before holding the flyer and wishing for a pretty girl to show up. Surprisingly, instead of 1, 2 appeared, and once they noticed each other, they gained confused expressions. Akino, what are you and I both doing here? Asked Riaz in confusion. Ara, it would seem we were both summoned here, said Akino with a smile. Well, I only wished for 1 pretty girl, but I suppose 2 is better. Pleased to make your acquaintances, my name is Issei Hayadu, said Issei, giving a small bow, drawing the attention of the 2 girls. My name is Riaz Gremory, a devil, said Riaz, getting Issei's back to tighten, before he forcefully relaxed it. Ara, pleased to make you acquaintance, I am Akino Hanjima, Riaz Gremory's queen, said Akino, giving a small bow herself. Now, why exactly have you summoned us? Asked Riaz as she looked around, before spotting the fallen angel. Riaz and Akino's hands both twitched slightly at seeing a fallen angel, but Issei speaking stopped whatever they were planning on doing. I would appreciate you not glaring murderously at the fallen angel, as she is now bound to me, said Issei cheerfully, with a threatening undertone. Riaz and Akino were both surprised at what Issei said. How did you do that? Asked Riaz in surprise. Oh, just the usual standard binding formula, with a unique twist of mine, said Issei offhandedly, as if he was commenting on the weather. The reason I called you, or well I suppose both of you here, is to tell you that this fallen angel is now under my protection, and I would appreciate if you devils didn't try to harm her. Naturally, I will be telling her the same thing, as I don't want to start a conflict between factions, said Issei with a smile. I suppose we could agree to those terms, assuming she doesn't try to attack us first, said Riaz. Great, thanks for that, said Issei, as he bent over and picked up the unconscious Rainier, holding her bridal style. Although, I suppose you will want a payment for me summoning you here. Both my soul and being turned into a devil are off the table, said Issei quickly. Riaz pouted at not being able to gain such a strong piece to add to her peerage, but thought of a way around that. Very well then, as payment, you will have to join the Occult Research Club, said Riaz victoriously. That's it. Fine, no problem, said Issei, surprised at such a simple request. But President, I want a payment as well, said Akino, with a teasing tone and smile. Sigh, must you, Akino? Asked Riaz, slightly exasperated. Well, he did summon me too, stated Akino. I have no problem with that, Akino, but like I said, turning and my soul are off the table, said Issei firmly. That's fine, I don't want anything like that, all I want is to be able to ask you for a favor at some point, said Akino, smiling with her eyes closed. That is acceptable. While I'm still here though, if things go well with Rainier here, I would like for her to be able to come to Kyo. Would there be a problem? Asked Issei curiously. Riaz thought about it for a minute, mentally weighing up the advantages and disadvantages of allowing Rainier to enter what was quite frankly a devil's stronghold. This, coupled with the strained smile Akino was giving, indicated that it might not be the best of ideas. However, with her bound to Issei, there should be a limit as to what she could do without his approval, so in all honesty, the threat of her attacking anyone was rather low. Very well, I will see what I can do, said Riaz tiredly. Thanks, in any case, see you both on Monday I suppose, said Issei, before walking away and taking the unconscious Rainier with him. Wait, before you go, what are you? You aren't a devil, and don't seem to be an angel or a fallen one, said Riaz quickly. Well, not to be rude or anything, but you haven't earned my trust for me to tell you that yet, said Issei over his shoulder as he kept walking. Riaz was slightly miffed at the abrupt dismissal, but conceded that they hadn't done anything for him to divulge possible sensitive information to them. Well, what do you think, Akino? Asked Riaz. I think things will be very interesting from now on, said Akino, before both disappeared in a bright red glow as a red circle filled with formulas appeared under them. Ugh, what happened? Groaned Rainier as she woke up. A quick look around showed her a strange environment, white walls, couches, and a TV together with a kitchen nearby. A hallway leading to more rooms, windows, one of which showed the sun was just starting to rise, and a front door painted an off-yellow color. Where the hell am I? Shouted Rainier in confusion. Man, do you have to be so loud? Some of us have school today, muttered a strangely familiar voice. Issei entered from the hallway rubbing his right eye clad in only a pair of black shorts. You, shouted Rainier before jumping off the couch and attempting to make a light spear only to notice she couldn't. Yeah, on me. Now stop trying to kill me and quiet down. It is still too early for me, said Issei sleepily before muttering about people not letting him sleep past sunrise. Rainier was momentarily stunned, unsure what to make of the situation. A bewildered expression made itself home on her face. Someone she had tried to, no, someone she pierced through the heart yesterday was brushing her off, and she still had no idea where she was. Where am I? Asked Rainier sourly. My house, obviously. My parents aren't home now as they are on vacation, so it is just you and me here, said Issei in a voice that was slowly becoming more alert and less sleepy. Rainier opened her mouth then closed it. She couldn't fathom what the hell was going on. Was all Rainier could stutter out. Issei sighed deeply before downing a glass of milk before walking over to her and offering her some orange juice, which she eyed warily. Relax, I'm not trying to poison you. Besides, you were the one who tried to kill me last night, or did you forget? Joked Issei. Okay, what the hell happened? I demand an explanation, shouted Rainier angrily before Issei leveled a cold, icy glare at her. You will sit down and listen. You will not demand anything from me, and thirdly, you are not to interrupt me. I am showing you kindness here, and if you continue showing such hostility in my house, I can make things very uncomfortable for you. Got it? Asked Issei coldly. Rainier nodded slightly and sat down, surprised at the abrupt change in demeanor and, if she was being honest with herself, a little turned on. Issei moved to stand in front of her and offered her the juice again, which she hesitantly accepted before taking a small sip. Was that so hard? Asked Issei rhetorically before moving to sit opposite her on another couch. Rainier set the glass down on the small coffee table between them before Issei started to speak. Now I understand you will have questions, but you will not interrupt. Save them for when I finish, said Issei firmly, getting a small dumbfounded nod from Rainier. Now firstly, you are a fallen angel who tried to kill me yesterday and failed. I am sure you know why you tried, no doubt due to this, said Issei before making his gauntlet appear, which disappeared after a few seconds. What you don't know is that I activated this sacred gear, a Longinus, the boosted gear to be exact, 9 years ago, and as such you stood no chance against me. Before you get indignant, shut it. I don't care for petty inferiority complexes. A fallen angel being taken out in a couple of hits is embarrassing, and we will fix that. Now that might sound strange to you, but let me fill you in, said Issei rapidly in quick succession before walking up to Rainier and reaching towards the center of her chest. You pervert, shouted Rainier as she tried to slap him before he grabbed her arm firmly and glared at her. Rainier closed her eyes, fearing she was about to be felt up or raped, but was surprised when Issei merely poked his index finger over her heart and sent a burst of energy into her. As she opened her eyes, she saw a small glowing circle rotating over her heart filled with formulas. You are bound to me now, said Issei before going to sit back on his couch while Rainier absorbed his words. Be bound, muttered Rainier before looking up at Issei, who nodded, showing he was finished speaking. Yes, bound. Surely you didn't think I would let you try and kill me and then let you go away freely, questioned Issei rhetorically. So what, am I your slave or something now? Asked Rainier angrily with a hint of sadness as her eyes begun to tear up slightly. That depends on you, said Issei lowly. What do you mean? Binding me to you makes me your slave, retorted Rainier unhappily. What I mean is I don't seek to enslave you, I was simply eliminating any future issues easily. After all, why would I want to kill you when you have something I want? Said Issei with a grin which Rainier misinterpreted to be a perverted grin. So what, you kept me around just to have your way with me? Asked Rainier shakily. No, sheesh, is that all fallen angels seem to think about? Guess that is why you all fell in the first place. No, I want information, said Issei in slight frustration. Rainier tilted her head to the side, contemplating the subtle jab at her species before catching on to the second part of what he said. Information on what? Asked Rainier. Isn't it obvious? On fallen angels, said Issei. Wait, what did you mean before when you said me being a slave or not depends on me? Asked Rainier. Sigh. Alright, I see I need to make things explicitly clear for you to understand. Firstly, you are bound to me but not my slave. If you want, I can treat you like one, but that doesn't have to be the case. If you work with me, I will work with you and we can be partners. You give me what I want, and I will make you one of the strongest fallen angels around, and hopefully beat some common sense into you, said Issei. Common sense? Asked Rainier in confusion. Yes, who stupidly attacks someone who possibly has a very strong sacred gear without information. Firstly, you approached me without hiding your energy. Quite frankly, anyone with some supernatural sensing abilities could have easily picked up on the fact that you are a fallen angel. Secondly, you are much too arrogant for your current set of abilities. You take the time to scare the person you are going to kill and then throw an extremely slow light spear at them, and then to add insult to injury, gloat, reprimanded Issei. Hey, I pierced your heart, didn't I? Retorted Rainier. I let you, deadpanned Issei. Why? Asked Rainier. You just flashed me, so I was humoring you for a minute, replied Issei nonchalantly. I knew you were a pervert, shouted Rainier accusingly. Firstly, what do you expect? I am a 17-year-old teenager, so when a girl as sexy as you flashes me, what do you want me to do? Look away, retorted Issei, and getting a small self-satisfied smirk from Rainier. Secondly, look at what you are wearing. You can't wear that and call people perverts. I mean, look at it, said Issei, causing Rainier to look down at her threadbare leather clothing. Would I like it? Huffed Rainier with red cheeks. Point being, you can't really call me a pervert for looking if, A, you flashed me, and B, you wear that normally, said Issei. Now back to what I was saying. Ah yes, slow attacks and no common sense. So basically, since you are bound to me, I am going to train you because anyone bound to me cannot be that laughably weak or stupid, said Issei, causing Rainier's head to drop slightly. Wait, how did you survive a spear to your heart anyway? Asked Rainier, trying to change the subject. Well, due to the circumstances behind how I activated this thing, I gained a type of regeneration ability. All you need to know is that I can survive most kinds of attacks, said Issei. Well, as long as I still have my head, thought Issei internally before he looked at his watch. Oh, one thing, can you change back to your other form by any chance? Asked Issei. Why, is this form too much for you? Teased Rainier. No, but do you really want to go to school in that form? Replied Issei as he quickly disappeared into the hallway and went to his room before bringing back a bunch of clothes, some of which he threw near Rainier. School? Asked Rainier in confusion. Yeah, and if we don't get moving soon, we are going to be late, said Issei as he started putting his clothes on. We? Asked Rainier, still not following. Yes, we now hurry up, I'll explain on the way, said Issei before leaving to head back into his room again, leaving a confused fallen angel. Line break. Rainier changed back into her Yuma form and arrived at school with Issei. Got it? Asked Issei, having explained the situation of devils being largely in charge of the school and how she shouldn't do anything stupid. Yeah, sure, I guess, muttered Rainier, clad in the normal girl's uniform, with the only unique feature about it being her wearing thigh-high socks in a manner similar of the leather boots her true form wore. Now I'm pretty sure you will be in my class, so just come with me and act normal. You know, not like a fallen angel trying to kill people, supplied Issei helpfully. Rainier bristled slightly at the repeated jabs to her intelligence before giving a small sigh and realizing she had done some stupid things. As they arrived at class, the teacher took notice of Rainier and looked as though she expected a new student. Class, we have a new student who just transferred here recently, so show her your manners. Would you like to introduce yourself? Asked the middle-aged teacher kindly as Issei went to his seat and sat down. Oh yes, nice to meet you all. My name is Yuma Amano and I am currently living with Issei. Please take care of me, said Rainier, to which multiple gasps sounded and one slap to the forehead. Unbelievable, muttered Issei at the manner Rainier had introduced herself, knowing the sure-to-be stupid reactions of most of the school were going to wear him down. Line break. Issei, how could you not tell us you were living with a girl? Shouted Matsuda. Yes, you sneaky bastard, Issei, chimed in Madohama. They were outside in a small grassy area with a few trees nearby. Issei was sitting near the edge of a small ledge with a tree near it, while Matsuda and Madohama were standing in front of him. Here is your juice, Issei, said Rainier chirpily as she walked up to Issei and handed him an orange juice box. She even acts like your girlfriend, said Madohama in anguish. Why, just why, muttered Issei, which Rainier overheard. Not so stupid now, am I? Whispered Rainier in her true voice instead of her Yuma voice she had been using since arriving at school as she crouched down near Issei. Issei sat up straight and took the juice box from her and started drinking from it with a sour face. Why don't you guys go peep or something? Isn't it your usual activity at this time? Asked Issei sourly, silencing both of his friends. Madohama looked at Matsuda, glasses gleaming. See you later, Issei, said the two as they quickly ran off, getting Issei to chuckle. What's so funny? Asked Rainier in her normal voice, since it was only her and Issei around the immediate area. Issei rested his back on a nearby tree and patted the area next to him for Rainier to sit, which she did after some over-the-top dramatic pleading from Issei, which made her laugh a little. Well, normally they peep and then they run away while I let the Kendo Club girls vent their frustration at their perverseness by sparring with them, said Issei. But they went alone, said Rainier before they started to hear two guys scream like little girls. Exactly, said Issei with a dark chuckle. Want some of the juice? Offered Issei. Rainier looked at him strangely before accepting the offer and drinking some of the orange juice before giving it back to him. You are really weird, you know that, stated Rainier. Oh, how so? Asked Issei in confusion before offering the juice back to Rainier, which she refused. I mean, you say I am bound to you and get all cold and serious, and then you just switch into happy mode. Also, for someone who is bound to you, unwillingly, you are being exceedingly nice to me. Lastly, you just tricked your supposed friends into getting beat up by multiple kendo sticks and laughed about it, said Rainier in a matter-of-fact tone. That just means I adapt to situations as I need to. Nothing wrong with that, said Issei happily. Aha, like how you adapted to me saying I live with you, teased Rainier, getting a playful glare from Issei. I knew you did that on purpose, Issei muttered sourly. I don't know what you are talking about. I am just a fallen angel without any common sense, said Rainier in a mocking manner. Okay, point taken, you aren't a complete idiot, said Issei, getting a smile and nod from Rainier before she fully processed his words. Hey, I'm not an idiot, retorted Rainier heatedly, making Issei laugh. Whatever, said Issei, apathetically irritating Rainier on purpose. Issei-senpai, said a quiet, monotone girl. She was a petite girl, around 15 years of age, with white hair and hazel eyes. At the front, her hair had 2 long bangs going past her shoulders and several loose bangs hanging over her forehead, while the back had a short bob cut. She also wore a black cat-shaped hair clip on both sides of her hair along with the standard Kyo Academy school uniform for girls minus the shoulder cape. "Kaneko right?" inquired Issei, getting a nod from the girl. "Yes, please come to the old school building after school. You are expected to come as well," said Kaneko, gesturing to Rainier with a nod before turning on her heel and leaving. As they watched her silently walk away, Issei gave a deep sigh. "Well, at least I have something to do now after school. Seriously, if you weren't just doing it to eventually try to kill me, I wouldn't mind going on more dates with you," said a bored Issei, who closed his eyes and shuffled down, so his head was now at the base of the tree as he proceeded to take a small nap. "It isn't like I didn't enjoy the date, you know," whispered Rainier with a small blush and slightly wistful smile as she looked at the bracelet Issei got her. Line break. After the rest of the classes for the day concluded, Issei and Rainier bid goodbye to 2 beaten and bruised boys in the form of Madohama and Matsuda, who after months of peeping finally got the stuffing beat out of them, and walked across the academy to the old school building. "Now remember, this is a devil stronghold, so try not to do anything too dangerous. If you get in trouble though, don't worry, I'll protect you, but don't start anything, okay?" stated Issei, getting a small nod from Rainier. Eventually they reached the only room which contained the energy of a person in it and knocked on the door. "Come in," said a feminine voice, to which Issei responded by opening the door and stepping inside with Rainier right behind him. The interior consisted of a wood-paneled room with Victorian-style couches and chairs along the walls. One side was set up to be able to be used as a bath, something Issei found very strange, as well as a large magic circle on the floor. "Welcome, President Rias will be here shortly," said Akino with a smile and bow while her eyes remained shut. Issei looked around and saw Kaneko eating biscuits while sitting on one of the couches, while a handsome blonde-haired boy walked over to him from the window. "Pleased to meet you, Issei. I am Kiba Uedo, but you know that since we are on the same year level," said Kiba politely. Issei definitely knew Kiba, since he was quite frankly one of the most popular boys in the school due to his good looks and polite demeanor. "And you would be?" asked Kiba while looking at Rainier with a slightly strained smile. "I suppose you can call me Rainier now, but during class times please refer to me as Yuma Mano," said Rainier, not detecting the slight hostility Kiba was giving off. "Need to train her awareness too, it seems," thought Issei, as Rainier didn't seem to detect the small amount of malice coming off Kiba, nor the slightly larger amount of malice coming off Akino. Unknowingly, Issei himself started to release a bit of malice due to being in a room filled with devils, causing his fingers to twitch slightly. "So sorry to keep you waiting, but I had just finished taking a shower," said Rias as she entered the room from a side door, unknowingly diffusing the tension that was starting to build up. "That is okay, although I would appreciate knowing why you wanted me to join this club in exchange for me summoning you. Thank you for seeing to Rainier's enrollment, by the way," said Issei, giving a slight bow in thanks. "That is quite all right. In fact, it wasn't hard to do at all. Please sit," said Rias offhandedly while nodding to Akino, who poured both of their guests some green tea. "While I do appreciate it, I would like to know why you wanted both of us to be here," said Issei. "Well, I asked for you to bring the fallen angel along because she is bound to you and didn't think it wise to leave her unattended," said Rias, getting Rainier to mutter that she had a name. "As for why you are here, that is very simple. You are an unknown in my territory, and it is my job to ensure you are not a threat to my peerage or any other supernatural beings at this school in addition to any humans," said Rias matter-of-factly. Issei gave a dark chuckle which confused everyone in the room. "Oh, what is so funny?" asked Rias snappily. "I just find it funny that you said it is your duty to protect humans. Forgive me, but that isn't what I've experienced as far as devils go," said Issei before taking a sip of the tea, absent-mindedly noticing it tasted very good. "What experience have you had with devils, aside from my peerage and I?" asked Rias in a strained tone of voice. "Oh, nothing too bad, just the fact that 2 devils tried to kill me and used my friend for ransom when we were 8. This tea is quite good," said Issei, adding in his compliment in between a sip. The group and Rainier were momentarily taken aback at this, with Rias being the first to recover. "I can assure you that devils don't generally do that. They must have been strays," said Rias. "I figured as much after a bit of research, but the fact remains that I don't trust devils. Any devil. If 1 or 2 strays can do something like that, or rather tried to, then surely there are some devils out there who agree with such ruthless tactics," said Issei, setting down his cup having finished the tea before standing up. "Wait, where are you going?" asked Rias. "Home. Being around you for too long has brought back some unpleasant memories. If you still need to ask me something, do so now," said Issei as he walked towards the door. "Are you going to be a threat to us or our interests? Also, what happened to those 2 strays?" asked Rias. "I will stay out of your business if you stay out of mine. I may not like any of you, but I can live happily near you as long as I don't need to be with you for too often. As for those strays, I punched a hole in their guts with an energy blast and they slowly bled to death and died. Let's go, Rainier," said Issei as he left with Rainier quietly following. As the door closed, the 4 devils were silent for a while before Kiba addressed his king. "I guess that was not how you were expecting things to go down," stated Kiba. "He won't trust us easily," stated Kaneko. "Seems your plan to get him on our side is almost impossible. If anything, he will side with the angels or fallen angels over us," said Akino. Rias just stared at the door, not having anything to say. Line break. After arriving home, Issei told Rainer he would have dinner ready in a short while. Rainer just sat on the couch, still in the form of her alias. If you don't mind me asking, if you hate devils so much for attacking you and your friend when you were a kid, do you hate all fallen angels as well since I attacked you? Asked Rainer reluctantly. No, replied Issei curtly. Why not? Asked Rainer in confusion. You attacked me alone, and while you may have used underhanded tactics, you didn't do anything as bad as trying to steal a little girl ignorant of the supernatural world or try to kill a little boy who was just trying to save his only friend. I was fully aware of who and what you were when you approached me, said Issei. Why did you agree to meet with those devils then if you hate them so much? Why even summon them in the first place? Asked Rainer, trying to understand Issei's actions. Well, it was the easiest way to allow you to go to the same school as me discreetly. As for why I met with them, I get that not all devils are like those two, but it doesn't mean I want to be friends with them. It was a necessary evil as this is their territory after all, said Issei. The two ate in silence, after which Issei washed the dishes before sitting down next to Rainer on the couch. Now there is one thing I still don't quite fully understand, said Issei, getting Rainer to turn and face him. You said I was a threat to you. Who ordered you to kill me? Asked Issei. Well, I wasn't ordered to kill you exactly. I was supposed to watch you to make sure your sacred gear didn't suddenly activate, which could be dangerous to us, so I decided to take you out, said Rainer. Issei nodded thoughtfully before speaking. So without knowing that I had already activated my sacred gear, you took the initiative to take out a possible future threat? Asked Issei, to which Rainer nodded. Issei nodded a few more times with his eyes closed before suddenly opening them angrily. You idiot! Issei shouted as he slapped Rainer over the head, causing her to whimper from the abrupt hit. Do you realize just how difficult you could have made things for your faction? Asked Issei, standing up, invading Rainer's personal space. What do you mean? Asked Rainer with a dumbfounded expression. You planned to kill someone who possessed a powerful sacred gear in the territory of a devil who had handed out a contract to the holder of said sacred gear. Do you get what that means? Asked Issei patiently, to which Rainer slowly shook her head before gasping as Issei groped her breasts. Did these things take all the blood from your brain to grow or something? Asked Issei, while internally thinking they were very soft before letting go, only to see Rainer with a furious blush which looked quite cute on her, seeing as she was in her alternate form. If you had succeeded in killing me, I had a devil contract with me. Being desperate to live, I may have summoned her and in exchange for my life become her servant. This would have effectively moved me from potential threat to definite threat, as I would now be on the side of the devils, a group which most certainly would not like to see you live. Get it? Lectured Issei. Issei paused for a minute, seeing what he had said start to sink in. Now that is cleared up, change into your other form. We have training to do, said Issei. What do you mean? Asked Rainer. Did you forget what I said during and after out battle? I am going to train you. No one bound to me can be as weak as you are right now. So, let's go. Here are some old shorts and a shirt I have if you want, or you can stay in your normal BDSM clothing. I don't really care, but either way decide quickly and follow me, said Issei as he walked into the hallway and brought back a pile of clothes which he threw near Rainer before going back into the hallway. I am not wearing that. I only wore this uniform because I had to, said Rainer, looking at the clothes Issei had thrown near her. She quickly stripped out of her school uniform, figuring that tearing 2 large holes in it wouldn't be the smartest decision, before transforming and following after Issei. Rainer found Issei waiting for her near a door which appeared to lead to a large room. When they went inside, Rainer saw it was a small home gym with weights, a bench, and a few small medicine balls along with some ankle weights. The floor seemed to be made out of a tough black material which didn't look like it would scratch easily, and one of the walls was made out of a bouncy material which also looked quite strong. The room wasn't very large, being only 10 square meters at the most. What is this place? Asked Rainer. Where I work out. You didn't think I was mocking your abilities because I was naturally faster and stronger than you, did you? Asked Issei. Rainer looked at Issei and recalled the way his body looked in the morning when he was only clad in shorts, and remembered his body did show signs that he worked out very hard. So what, did you just bring me here so I can stroke your ego? Teased Rainer, to which Issei chuckled, weirdly unnerving her. I told you we are going to train you, didn't I? I meant it. Now first off we'll do some light stretching, then some push-ups and a few quick sprints, said Issei. First off? Asked Rainer in trepidation. Of course, that's just the warm-up before we get started with the light exercises. You'll pick up 2 dumbbells and do 200 punches each arm, then some lunges and squats, after which, maybe 500 jump ropes. Then we can get started on evasion training, said Issei, causing Rainer to rapidly pale. What will the evasion training be? Asked Rainer in trepidation. I'll give you a hint. That wall over there is made to absorb high levels of impact, and those medicine balls aren't there as decorations, said Issei with a wicked grin. Help me, pleaded Rainer internally before Issei started ordering her around. Line break. So what are we going to do now? Rainer failed and is probably dead. A short figure asked 2 others. The 3 were all wearing black cloaks, with 2 being around the same height, with the 3rd being much shorter. The other sacred gear wielder is still set to come here, so why not just carry out the original plan, only instead one of us gets the sacred gear, suggested the tallest figure. Well, it sounds good, but what about the scared gear holder Rainer was supposed to watch? Asked the 3rd person. Ignore him for now, but if he gets in our way, kill him, said the tall figure. Rainer woke up and instantly felt one thing: pain, and lots of it. A lower-level fallen angel like her would never need to train herself so much as she only ever got low-risk missions where very little threat was involved. This may have actually gotten her in this situation in the first place, but that was neither here nor there. The second thing she noticed was a large heat source was immediately to her right. Turning her head slightly, she was greeted to the form of a sleeping Issei. Rainer sat up without disturbing Issei and tried to remember what happened last night. She recalled meeting with the devils and then coming home, after which she ate dinner and then did some training with Issei. Unfortunately, things started to become a blur at this point and she couldn't quite remember what happened. Now, being a fallen angel, Rainer's mind was usually, for lack of a better term, in the gutter, so seeing Issei just in shorts and her in her usual attire caused her mind to wander. As her mind wandered, so did her eyes, spotting little Issei after some time. At the sight of Issei's morning wood, lustful thoughts started to enter Rainer's mind, but her machinations were cut short when Issei stirred and rubbed his eyes before sitting up and looking at her. "Morning," he said sleepily before stifling a yawn with his right hand. Morning. What am I doing here?" asked Rainer weakly. "Wow, you must have never trained a day in your life if you can't even remember what you did yesterday," said Issei, unknowingly quashing many theories Rainer had of why she was in Issei's bed. As Issei stood up and begun to head downstairs, he noticed a genuine confused expression on Rainer's face, which caused him to laugh a little. "Don't worry, I'll explain downstairs. Come on, it's breakfast time," said Issei, leaving Rainer in his room. After a short while, Rainer slowly made her way to the kitchen, sitting room, and noticed Issei had started cooking some rice and was chopping up some vegetables, which he started to stir-fry with a bit of meat. "After yesterday, you're going to need a breakfast with more of a kick if you plan on recovering. You were almost dead on your feet. Still, you didn't give up, and that earns you some points in my book," said Issei. Rainer stiffly sat down on the couch, still in a fair bit of pain, and seemed to feel a large amount of pain emanating from her right shoulder. Looking at it, she noticed she had a small bruise. Issei finished cooking and brought over 2 bowls of rice with stir-fried meat and vegetables and handed it to Rainer before starting to eat. Noticing Rainer seemed to still have a vacant expression on her face, he picked up a small piece of meat with his chopsticks and shoved it in her mouth, startling her. "Come on, eat before it gets cold, then I will explain what happened yesterday," said Issei before going back to his breakfast, with Rainer doing the same. After washing the dishes again, Issei sat down opposite Rainer again. "All right, what's up?" asked Issei. What happened during training?" asked Rainer, trying to remember what happened. "You trained, obviously, and since you probably never trained a day in your life before yesterday, you were utterly exhausted. That bruise is from you being too slow to dodge a 2-kilo medicine ball, and you were in my bed because I put you there since I felt you deserved it over the couch after the effort you put in yesterday." "Any questions?" said Issei quickly. "How often are we going to train?" asked Rainer in trepidation. "Every second day, but I'll give you a break on the weekend," said Issei. Rainer breathed a small sigh of relief, having feared that she would need to train every day. Her worries assuaged, she tried to get up and found her legs couldn't support her weight. Making a small groan of discomfort, she tried to stand up again, only for Issei to chuckle. "Yeah, until we get your fitness level up, you're going to be practically immobile the day after we train," said Issei. "Well, if I'm immobile and can't move, why don't you try something?" said Rainer, pushing her breasts together with her arms. Issei stared for a minute before walking away. "Hey, wait, where are you going?" "I can't get up, come back," cried Rainer, seeing her teasing had backfired once again. Line break. Arriving at school, Rainer was leaning on Issei's shoulder with his right arm wrapped around her. To the unobservant bystander, it would appear to be nothing more than 2 teenagers in love. For those who took the time to watch them, they would realize that the girl was almost incapable of moving and was practically being carried by the boy. "I hate you so much right now," said Rainer in her usual voice, having changed back into her alternate form for school. "Well, too bad for you, you can't get around without me," snickered Issei. Throughout the day, Rainer was constantly at Issei's side, leading to even more rumors about their supposed relationship, much to Issei's chagrin. "Maybe I should have thought this through a bit better," thought Issei, noticing lots of people were either pointing at them and giggling or glaring at them enviously. Line break. Issei gently placed Rainer on his bed. "All right, I need to go out and get some things, try to get some rest," said Issei. "What, going to get some lewd material to add to your collection?" asked Rainer. "Honestly, you would love Matsuda and Madohama, your brains are on the exact same wavelength," deadpanned Issei. "Anyway, I'll be back soon, later," said Issei before leaving an immobile Rainer behind. Line break. "All right, I think that should be all I need for this week," muttered Issei, looking over a small shopping list he had. Having an unexpected house guest meant he needed more supplies, earlier than usual. "Ouchie," cried a feminine voice. Issei turned to see a blonde-haired girl had fallen over and dropped a large suitcase. Being the gentleman that he was, he went to help her up. "Are you okay?" asked Issei. The girl looked up and started speaking quickly in Italian. "Didrag, a little help here," thought Issei, only being able to understand that she was lost. "Fine, 1 second," said Didrag before boosting Issei's mental capacities, enabling him to understand what was being said. "And I don't know where to go and can't ask for directions because I can't speak Japanese," stated the girl sadly. "That's all right, I'll help you find where you need to go," said Issei in Italian as he looked into her big green eyes. "Oh, thank you very much. This must be a sign that God sent you to guide me on my way," the girl said happily. Issei took a good look at her and noticed she was wearing the clothes of a nun and had a very strong holy aura around her. But what would a holy person be doing here? thought Issei. Issei helped her get back to her feet and moved all his groceries to his left hand so he could carry her suitcase for her. Thank you very much. I was trying to find the church in this town but can't read any of the signs, said the nun in embarrassment. That's all right, I'll help you find your way. What are friends for? Asked Issei jovially. Friends? Asked Asia in confusion. Sure, I'm the first friend of yours who can understand you in this town, said Issei, oblivious to Asia's thoughts. But I never had a friend before. Is that what friends do? I'm so confused, thought Asia innocently. I'm Issei, by the way. Issei, hi, how do? Said Issei. I'm Asia Argento. Nice to meet you. Thank you for helping me again, said Asia shyly. It's no problem, I was on my way home and it is near the church anyway, said Issei. Along the way the duo saw a small boy crying because of a scratch on his knee. Asia quickly went to help him and soothed him when 2 rings appeared on her fingers and a green glow started emanating from her hands, healing the wound. So that must be a sacred gear, a powerful one at that. It had a very strong aura, thought Issei as he watched the boy thank Asia and run off. Sorry about that, I just had to help him, said Asia shyly with a small bow. It's fine, it was nice of you to help him, that is quite a gift you have, said Issei as they resumed walking. Yes, it is the power to heal. It is a wonderful power that God gave me, said Asia, becoming melancholy near the end. What's wrong? Asked Issei, picking up on her tone. Oh, it's nothing. It is just that, well, I never really had a friend before, but it was all right, said Asia timidly. Issei stopped abruptly and turned to look at her. Okay then, tomorrow at 6, meet me at the park where you healed that boy, said Issei firmly. What? Why? Asked Asia. Well, I just figured I could show you around and we could have some fun, said Issei with a small smile. Asia just gasped and looked up at him. Seeing his smiling visage made her smile as well. Okay then, said Asia happily. Eventually they reached the church, but Issei felt something was off. This feeling, the holy aura coming of this church, is tainted, thought Issei in confusion. Thank you, Issei, see you tomorrow, said Asia with a bow as she took her suitcase back, bowed, then walked inside the church. Line break. That's him, isn't it? Should we kill him? Asked a cloaked figure inside the church. No, after all, he did us a great favor bringing that girl here. We will let him go this time, said another cloaked figure as they watched Issei walk away from inside the church. Line break. I'm home, said Issei as he took the groceries to the kitchen and took his shoes off. Welcome back, said Rainier with a bit of snide edge to her words. Still sore, I see, said Issei, knowingly causing Rainier to glare at him from the couch. So I met someone interesting today, said Issei out of the blue as he put the groceries away. She had a unique ability, she could heal people and had a very strong holy aura. I dropped her off at the church. Any ideas why a holy person was sent to a church inhabited by fallen angels? Said Issei. Oh, I almost forgot. We were going to kill that girl and take her sacred gear, said Rainier, suddenly standing up before wincing in a bit of pain. Issei frowned momentarily before deciding on his next course of action. Well, if that's the case, I'll just have to get her away from those other fallen angels. How many are there? Asked Issei. 3, not including me, but we have a lot of exorcists. One of them is particularly powerful, but he is a lunatic even by fallen angel standards, said Rainier distastefully. Meaning? Prompted Issei. If you were friends with someone who summoned a devil once, he would hack you up to pieces and string your body along a power pole in front of you family, said Rainier. I'm definitely not my kind of guy, said Issei in slight disgust. I thought you hated devils, asked Rainier in surprise. True, but I can live with them in small doses, plus doing such gruesome acts to someone not even directly involved with devils. Well, that rubs me the wrong way, said Issei truthfully. After dinner the two went to bed, due to Issei feeling merciful towards Rainier, knowing that this pattern of training and soreness would repeat itself, and thus allowed her to sleep on his bed with him, knowing this was most likely going to become a regular thing. Although why complain about getting to sleep next to a drop-dead gorgeous girl every night? Most straight men would give up an arm and a leg to have some like Rainier sleep next to them. At least this is a double-sized bed, or this would be pretty uncomfortable, thought Issei before falling asleep. Line break. After Issei and Rainier woke up and carried out their usual morning ritual, they went to school. Just like what happened 2 days ago, a member of Ria's peerage, this time being Kiba, came and asked for them to meet with them after school, and so with some effort on his part Issei dragged himself to the old school building, Rainier in tow. After knocking and entering, Issei noticed the atmosphere was significantly more relaxed than last time. Both Kiba and Aquino no longer released any malice towards Rainier, and Rias herself seemed pleased that they were actually here. Thank you for coming again. I hope you didn't have plans today, said Rias kindly. As a matter of fact, I am meeting someone in 2 hours, but I doubt you will need us for that long, said Issei. Yes, that is fine. I just need a little bit of your time, more specifically yours, Rainier, said Rias. Me? What for? Asked Rainier. Well, you see, Kaneko here had a rather interesting run-in with a stray exorcist who terminated one of her clients, said Rias. Oh, I see. Let me guess, white hair, carried a gun and a light sword, and swore a lot, asked Rainier. Yes, actually, know him, inquired Rias, a little surprised that Rainier was immediately able to pinpoint who it was they were trying to learn more about. Yup, that could only be one person, Fried Selzen, said Rainier distastefully. I'm guessing that was the person you were talking about last night, asked Issei. Ara you fufu sleeping with a fallen angel? My, you certainly are very daring. They are after all known for luring men with their bodies, said Aquino throatily. Issei turned to look at Rainer. I guess that is why your mind is always in the gutter and why you always think I'm having lewd thoughts, said Issei flatly. Hey, you can't tell me you weren't distracted by my body at all, retorted Rainer indignantly, causing Issei to blush slightly. Knew it, muttered Rainer arrogantly. Oh yeah, like you weren't eyeing me like a steak when I was just in my shorts, replied Issei, causing Rainer to blush slightly. I was just checking for any weak points so I could escape later, said Rainer unconvincingly. As amusing as this is, I would like to know what the situation is with the fallen angels right now, said Riaz before things could proceed any further. Rainer proceeded to explain what the fallen angels were doing and the plot to steal Asia's sacred gear. A powerful healing ability that takes the form of 2 rings. That sounds like Twilight healing, a particularly rare sacred gear, said Riaz aloud. Now that you know this, what are you going to do? Massacre the fallen angels and subjugate the sacred gear wielder? Asked Issei accusingly. You would actually be surprised that despite what you may think of devils, the Grimoire clan is renowned for their kindness. Don't judge our king too hastily just because of your past, said Kiba. So are you telling me that if a faction, say the fallen angels, tried to kill you when you were a child, you would be able to think positively of them and not judge them based on your past experiences? Questioned Issei, unknowingly striking very close to home for Kiba. Kiba is right though, the Grimoire clan is known for its kindness and not all devils are as bad as you may think. We treat our peerage like family, said Riaz softly. Well, if that is the case, more devils should be like you. Still, I only have scum to base your entire faction on, so at the very least I will give you all a chance to see what you propose most devils are like. If you can change my view on the matter, that is. Right now I am more or less neutral towards you all, said Issei, getting a grateful nod from Riaz. It might not be what Riaz wanted, but having Issei warm up to them was important, especially since he didn't think of devils in a favorable manner to begin with. After a bit of amicable talk about what most devils were like and how strays were vastly different from those who hadn't betrayed their masters, Riaz invited them to come see them exorcise a stray devil later on to show the difference between the 2 groups of devils, to which Issei agreed. If they can be trusted, it will make living here easier. Besides, it would be nice to think not all devils are bad, reasoned Issei. After dropping Rainer off at home and assigning her some books on strategy and war to read, Issei went to meet Asia. After meeting up with her, he took her to a restaurant where he taught her how to eat hamburgers, after which he took her to an arcade and won her a stuffed plushie. Asia also told Issei about her life in the church and the orphanage she grew up in. Issei considered not letting her go back to the church, but couldn't think of a way to do it without arousing suspicion or making Asia untrustworthy of him, something he would later come to regret. When Issei returned home, he grabbed Rainer, who he happily noticed had finished reading through the first chapter of Sun Tzu's The Art of War, which dealt with laying plans, something Rainer desperately needed to learn how to do if her plan to kill Issei was any indication, before heading for the address given to him by Riaz. The group of 2 met up with the group of 4 before entering the abandoned warehouse housing the stray devil. This stray devil left her master and has been luring humans here and eating them, explained Riaz. Ugh, that's disgusting, said Rainer distastefully. Really, I would have thought fallen angels would carry out similar distasteful endeavors, said Riaz. Not really, all we ever do is try to seduce people to our side and recruit or kill sacred gear holders, said Rainer, truthful. I suppose that does make sense. Of the 3 factions, your numbers are the hardest to raise, said Riaz thoughtfully before stopping at the opening to a very dark room. I smell something bad, but I also smell something delicious. I wonder if it's sweet or if it's sour, commented an eerie voice. Stray Devil Visor, we are here to eliminate you, said Riaz. Akino, is it necessary to announce your presence and intentions like this? Asked Issei in surprise. No, Riaz just likes to put on a bit of a show. Why do you ask? Replied Akino, which led to Issei pinching the bridge of his nose in frustration. No doubt Rainer isn't the only one here who needs to read The Art of War. Honestly, what is wrong with deception? Muttered Issei, getting Akino to chuckle lightly. Akino, said Riaz. Oh my turn already. What should I do with you? Said Akino while looking at the down from a visor who was missing both of her arms. Akino is my queen, said Riaz. Issei nodded, remembering the talk about evil pieces they had at the clubroom. Ara, it seems you still have some energy left in you. Then how about this? Said Akino as she raised her hands to the sky. Energy gathered between Akino's hands before a bolt of lightning struck the down stray, which Akino did a few more times, laughing very loudly. She is also an ultimate sadist, said Riaz proudly, for what reason Issei did not know. You two would be perfect for each, both annoying sadists, grumbled Rainer. Just for that you have to wear ankle weights throughout training tonight, said Issei with a smile not too dissimilar from Akino's. As Rainer paled at the thought, Riaz laughed a little at hearing that Issei was a sadist like her queen. I wonder who would be in charge if you had a relationship with Akino, said Riaz with a laugh as she gestured to Akino, who was happily frying the stray devil. Issei said nothing while Rainer muttered they'd probably take turns before Riaz stopped Akino and whispered something to her before facing Visor, her hand out in front of her. Any last words? Asked Riaz. Kill me, said the down stray weakly. then disappear, said Rias as a gigantic mass or dark red energy burst from her outstretched hand and obliterated visor from existence. So you see, a stray is not like your typical devil. They are generally cruel creatures who betray their masters for ill reasons, said Rias as she walked back to the group. I see. I might not hate you anymore, but I will see you around, I suppose, said Issei hesitantly before gesturing to Rainier to follow as they left. So what do you think, President? Asked Kiba. I think he is coming around, said Rias. I do hope so. After all, with the white dragon on the side of the fallen angels, having the red dragon against us as well would be very bad, said Aquino seriously. Line break. The next day. Line break. It was Friday, and with it the usual monotony of school life changed slightly due to the weekend coming up. People were happier and laughing with their friends. A stark contrast to the general atmosphere exuded from the form of Rainier. So cruel, what did I do to deserve this? Thought Rainier in agonizing pain thanks to Issei's torture last night. I was right, he is a perfect match for that sadist, thought Rainier bitterly as Issei whistled happily with a smile on his face. Come on, Yuma, it's Friday, be happy, said Issei internally, enjoying the sour look on her face when she looked at him. If looks could kill, Issei would be a smoldering pile of ash right now, but unfortunately for Rainier she didn't have that ability. Oh, don't look at me like that, besides you get the next 3 days off, pointed out Issei. Rainier just sighed. What did I do to deserve being bound to a training nut? Lamented Rainier. Line break. Over the weekend, Issei and Rainier spent a bit of time with the Occult Research Club. Rias had invited them over for tea and to talk. Issei found it was easy to get along with Rias and Aquino, Kiba too, but he had a habit of making things a little awkward for Issei. Kaneko, on the other hand, was very reserved and didn't say or do much. Issei had asked about this and Rias had explained how Kaneko was almost killed for something her sister did. This made Issei frown, thinking his initial assumptions about devils were correct, but after hearing what Rias and the Gremory family had done to avoid her being killed, he couldn't help but gain a bit of respect for them, while also thinking that maybe not all devils were so bad. Over the weekend he made sure Rainier read up more on tactics and had her practice forming light spears as fast as she could to get better at it. It was barely noticeable, but her spears formed 2 seconds faster and were an extra centimeter in diameter now. Line break. When Issei and Rainier returned home on Monday after school, Issei had a bad feeling. Say, Rainier, how exactly do you take someone else's sacred gear? Asked Issei, feeling a sense of foreboding creep upon him. Well, there is a special ritual that needs to be carried out the day after Sunday, an hour after sunset, said Rainier, trailing off at the end as she looked out the window. What happens to the sacred gear wielder? Asked Issei in trepidation as he watched the sun disappear from view. They die, said Rainier, spurring Issei into action, who quickly burst out of the house and started running to the church. Issei, wait, shouted Rainier, but she was too slow. Damn, he has no idea that the church is heavily fortified. He probably isn't going to like this, but he'll need help, said Rainier to herself before transforming and flying towards the old school building. Line break. As Issei ran towards the church, a blue light spear embedded itself in the ground just a little bit in front of him. So you somehow figured out what we were going to do, did you? Questioned a man. The man was no doubt a fallen angel, as he had 2 black wings sticking out of his back. He was a middle-aged looking gentleman with short black hair and dark blue eyes. His outfit consisted of a pale violet trench coat over a white dress shirt with a matching ascot, black pants and shoes, and a black fedora. You will move, or I will crush you, said Issei. Donasik is the name of your killer boy, said Donasik as he touched down onto the ground and created a blue light spear which slightly resembled a lance. You won't stop me, and I will only warn you one more time, move or I will crush you. Boosted gear, shouted Issei as his gauntlet appeared. Arrogant child, I have lived through a war, you can't kill me, shouted Donasik as he charged Issei. Donasik swung his light spear from the bottom left to top right, looking to slice Issei in half. Issei ducked under the blade and thrust his gauntlet-clad left arm upwards in a block and stepped into Donasik's guard and launched a vicious right-handed straight punch at his chest, sending him back a bit. Capitalizing on the recent separation, Issei jumped back and shouted boost, which was mirrored by his gauntlet. With his increased speed and jumping ability, he jumped forward into the air and sent a right-legged fly kick straight at Donasik, who put his light spear in front of him to block the kick. To follow up, he swung his light spear to the side, sending Issei with it and threw it after him. Issei ducked his head down and curled up into a ball, minimizing his size and in the process sparing himself from becoming speared. Donasik created a new light spear which was twice the length of his first one and started using it as a spear rather than a sword as he had been doing previously. He stabbed multiple times, aiming for Issei's head, which Issei kept dodging by tilting his head to the other side. Stay still, damn you, growled Donasik before launching the spear at Issei at extreme speeds. Issei couldn't dodge it completely, and as it grazed his shoulder he cringed in pain before another subsequent boost helped him get over the pain. Issei then charged at Donasik at even faster speeds than before and swept his legs before he could form another light spear, after which Issei ducked under his body and double mule kicked Donasik into the air. It is over, dragon shot, shouted Issei as a blast of red energy pursued Donasik. Donasik flapped his wings and rolled to the side of the blast, surviving the attack but burning his right wing in the process. TCH, grunted Issei, seeing Donasik had survived the attack relatively unharmed. You're good boy, but I will not lose here today. You had best hurry, said Donosik before flying away, shakily but flying nonetheless, away from Issei and the church. Is he running away? Doesn't matter, I have to get to Asia quick, thought Issei as he watched Donosik fly off. Issei ran as fast as he could, and with 2 subsequent boosts enhancing his already impressive speed, he got there in less than a minute. He paused at the foot of the church before going inside. Oh, and just who might you be? A shitty devil maybe? No, you don't feel like one of them at all, maybe an angel. No. Either way, I wonder how you will cry out when I stab you. Maybe a grunt, or a long drawn-out tearful plea perhaps. I just can't wait to find out, screamed a white-haired man waving a gun around. So, I'm guessing you are freed, right? Said Issei, eyes narrowed. Oh, that look, is it love? It feels like malice and killing intent, I love it, shouted Freed as he waved around a gun and the hilt of a sword. Where is Asia? Asked Issei in a steely voice. Oh, you mean the devil healer? She is down there under the altar, probably dead by now. Serves her right for healing a shitty devil. I see that look, you want to try and save her? Too bad for you, I'm here, said Freed as a sort of light burst from the hilt of his sword before he lunged at Issei, only to be intercepted by a pew that came hurtling at him, which he only narrowly dodged. Oh, what is this? The same shitty devil from before, so emotional. A reunion. I never met the same devil twice before. You know, since I'm super strong, I cut devils into pieces when I first meet them. Once I see them, I cut them up on the spot. I then kiss the corpse and say goodbye. That's how I used to live. But since you ruined my style, I'm so lost. That's no good, ranted Freed. Issei, you can go save your friend, we will deal with him, said Kiba, who appeared near Issei as Kaneko walked over to him. But what are you guys doing here? Asked Issei, only for Freed to interject. Oh, are you ignoring me because those shitty devils showed up? You must be a shitty devil lover like that girl. When I kill you, I will bury you together, ranted Freed before Kiba put a hand on Issei's shoulder and gestured for him to go save Asia. Okay, but I want an explanation after this, said Issei before rushing past Freed and going down the secret steps under the altar. Issei followed the passage and eventually reached a large door. I can feel them, lots of exorcists and 2 fallen angels, thought Issei before smashing through the door with a heavily boosted punch. Inside were dozens of exorcists, and atop an altar Asia was tied up with 2 fallen angels near her. She was crying out in pain and a green light emerged from her body. Asia, shouted Issei as he ran right through the exorcists, plowing them off to the sides. You're too late, said the shorter fallen angel in a happy voice as the green light entered her body. Issei leapt up to the altar and grabbed Asia's tied-up form. Asia, are you all right? Asked Issei desperately. Issei, I'm sorry, said Asia weakly. Why are you apologizing? I was the one who failed to save you, said Issei. I'm sorry that you are crying because of me, said Asia. Issei was indeed crying. Salty tears slowly dropped from his eyes, lamenting the fact that he couldn't save a girl as innocent and pure as Asia. Issei could feel Asia was dying very quickly and wouldn't live for much longer. Asia, I'm so sorry, but no matter what, I will bring you back, that's a promise, said Issei tearfully as Asia closed her eyes and departed from this world. Anger. Issei stood up. Rage. Issei looked at the smirking visage of the fallen angel who now possessed Asia's sacred gear. Hatred. Issei's gauntlet boosted once again before explosion was heard emanating from it. Twin dragon shot, shouted Issei, obliterating the 2 fallen angels, who were too busy gloating, in a blast of red energy. Regret. Issei grabbed Asia's sacred gear and her downed form before leaping out of the basement area, eventually reaching the sanctuary area. He set Asia down on one of the pews and stared at her form. After a short amount of time, Rias, Aquino and Rainier appeared along with Kiba and Kaneko, who looked a little tired but fine overall. Rias, do you think you can reincarnate her? She has a strong healing ability, said Issei, who stopped feeling a hand on his shoulder. It was Rias. Don't worry about it, said Rias as she pulled out a red bishop piece and took the sacred gear from Issei. Rias, thank you, said Issei warmly, to which Rias just smiled. I order, in my name Rias Gremory, you, Asia Argento, I resurrect you back to this soil as my servant, and have you reborn as a devil. You, my bishop, be delighted with your new life, said Rias as both the glowing chess piece and the sacred gear entered Asia's body. As Asia sat up in confusion, Issei smiled. I told you I would bring you back somehow, Asia, said Issei as he walked over to Asia and hugged her confused form. After a while, Issei let go and stood up before bowing to Rias, surprisingly, all considering how much he hated devils. Rias' words can't express my gratitude. I'm truly thankful. If you ever need anything from me, anything at all, I will give it to you in the hope that one day I can repay what you have done for me here today, said Issei passionately. Thank you, Issei, I will remember that, said Rias happily, no doubt glad that the self-proclaimed devil hater had changed his attitude so much in just a short week. Come on, Rainier, Asia, we are going home, said Issei. Asia adjusted to her new life reasonably well. She was loved at Kyo due to her innocent nature and good looks and already had many admirers. Issei would have none of it though and made sure no one got too friendly with Asia, which led to him punching Matsuda and Madohama at least 10 different times over Asia's first week before they got the message. Asia is off limits for their lewd thoughts and perverted behavior. On the supernatural side, Asia had high pools of magical energy, being only a little less than those of Rias and Aquino. She had just recently completed a contract and was quite happy about it. Issei hadn't started training Asia physically as he was still unsure if dying and being revived had any negative consequences, but he had been helping her understand Japanese, which she was doing very well at. Since Asia came to live with them, Issei decided that Rainer and Asia both needed their own rooms to sleep in. Rainer because she had earned his trust in helping him bring Asia back to life by getting Rias and the others, something he would never have done. And Asia because Issei felt she deserved to have something of her own after being alone and without worldly possessions, minus her clothing, until Issei had won her that soft toy from the arcade which she slept cuddled up to. So as Issei lay in bed clad only in his black shorts, getting ready to go to sleep, he was contemplating if he should start Asia on physical training when a magic circle appeared in his room. Naturally, his first instinct was to bring out his sacred gear and prepare a dragon shot in case it was a hostile. Being attacked by devils once had made Issei very wary of surprise attacks. When the flash of light died away, Rias was revealed, who was startled at seeing a magical attack ready to obliterate her. Listen, I know I said I don't hate you guys anymore, but do you really think it is smart to suddenly appear, by magic circle no less, in the house of someone who was previously attacked by devils? I could have killed you just now, or at the very least hurt you badly, said Issei as he let the dragon shot dissipate. Issei, did you mean what you said at the church when you said if I need anything from you, you will give it to me? Asked Rias quietly. Sure, I said it and I meant it, said Issei happily. Good, in that case, said Rias before she tackled Issei onto his bed and straddled him. Please take my virginity from me, said Rias desperately, eyes swelling with emotion. What? Why? Said Issei shocked. I've thought about it and it seems to be the only way, and I could never ask Kiba because he is too much of a gentleman. But you said you would give me something if I asked for it, so please take my virginity, said Rias as she started to unbutton her shirt. Rias, tell me, what is the problem? Did you ever consider I might be able to help you another way? Said Issei softly as he held her arms. I don't know what else to do, said Rias sadly. Alright, tell me everything from the beginning. Why do you want me to take your virginity? Questioned Issei seriously. Well, you see, I have been in an arranged marriage even before I was born. Since lots of devils were killed in the last war, the number of pureblood devils went down a great deal, so many arranged marriages between purebloods were made. As soon as my parents found out I was a girl, this marriage was put into place. I am betrothed to a man who doesn't see me as a person, only as an object and as a grimoire, someone to subjugate and take as a trophy. He doesn't see me for who I am, and I can't bear the thought of spending thousands of years married to such a man, said Rias sadly. What does that have to do with your virginity? Asked Issei slightly confused. You are aware how prized a woman's virginity is here. Well, in the underworld, a woman's virginity is held in the highest regard. So naturally I assumed that if I was to lose my virginity, that man would no longer want me and the wedding would be called off, said Rias neutrally. And this man, is he arrogant, full of himself to a great extent, and someone who looks down on others? Asked Issei thoughtfully. Yes, actually, how did you know that? Asked Rias in confusion. You do remember I used to hate devils. I envisioned they were all like that given the two I met. To hear that this guy is just what I thought devils are like, it makes me excited, said Issei with a strange look on his face. Excited? Asked Rias in confusion. Of course, nothing is more cathartic than getting to bring down the arrogance and self-worth of a person like someone who tried to kill me. It is the ultimate form of relaxation, to destroy someone who tried to destroy you. You know, you guys are lucky you weren't like this guy, or I probably would have tried to beat you all into the ground already, said Issei happily. Okay, so you want to fight him. He is really strong, you know, and said Rias before Issei raised a hand, cutting her off. I never said that, did I? Asked Issei, getting a nod. You play chess a lot, don't you? Asked Issei, earning a second nod. How can you make getting to the king easier? Asked Issei once again. By taking out the surrounding pieces, said Rias as realization started to dawn on her. Exactly, and since he is as arrogant as I think he is, I know just what to do to not only weaken him, but also buy you guys some time, said Issei. Thank you, Issei. You know, not many would have turned down sex with me. Is there something you are hiding, Issei? You do seem awfully friendly with Kiba. Asked Rias coyly. Really, you are going to accuse me of being a homosexual? Although then again, I never thought the cool and sophisticated Rias would be so desperate to have sex with me. Truly, I have had a greater effect on you than I thought, retorted Issei in the same teasing tone. True, but I have been sitting on top of you for close to 5 minutes now and you haven't tried anything, not to mention you didn't deny what I said, said Rias. Issei smirked at this and knew just how to get the upper hand and reached up to Rias and brought her down to the bed, reversing their positions. He then lightly brushed his hands against Rias' thighs before bringing them up to her breasts, which his hands ghosted over, causing Rias to let out a low gasp. Issei brought his head down to hers, inching towards her face, his hand lightly caressing it. Rias closed her eyes and slightly puckered her lips, only to feel herself pulled into a sitting position. What? Asked Rias, a little let down. Sorry, but you are in a much too emotional state for me to do anything. Besides, you started this little game, so I finished it, said Issei with a smirk. Rias looked at Issei, mouth slightly agape. Here she thought that Issei was going to take her right here and now, and it turns out he was only getting back at her for teasing him. She felt strangely disappointed that this was the case, but at the very least could appreciate that he didn't want to take advantage of her when she was in an emotional state. Thank you, Issei, for this and for everything, said Riaz as she leaned over and kissed Issei on the cheek as she went to rebutton her shirt, not noticing the magic circle that had appeared nor the person who appeared from it. It seems I was too late, said the figure who was dressed as a French maid with silver hair and eyes. Grafia, said Riaz in surprise before Issei spoke. Wait a minute, are you insinuating that in less than 10 minutes, Riaz arrived, had sex with me and even had enough time to get dressed before you arrived? Questioned Issei in a low tone of voice. To think this lowly man took your purity, said Grafia with a little disdain in her tone. UNFORGIVABLE. I am not a minute man, that fact that you just nonchalantly said that burns me up inside, shouted Issei, shocking Riaz with his outburst. That's what you're upset about, not the fact that she called you lowly, asked Riaz in disbelief. Of course, that is the greatest insult a man can receive from a woman, said Issei. How improper, said Grafia. Issei turned to look at her, a gleam in his eye that only Rainer had seen before. Oh, you are asking for it now. I don't care who you are, no one insults me like that, shouted Issei as his sacred gear appeared. Wait, Issei, stop, this is my brother's queen. You can't fight her, more so in your room it will attract unwanted attention, pleaded Riaz desperately. Issei gave Riaz a small glare which made her think that he wasn't going to listen to her before he clicked his teeth and made his sacred gear disappear. Listen up you, I don't care who you think you are, but let's get a few things straight. 1. I didn't take Riaz's purity as you put it. 2. If you ever insult my masculinity again there will be consequences. And 3. The next time you appear in my house, unannounced and by magic circle no less, I will blast you out through that window with a twin dragon shot. Consequences be damned, said Issei. Grafia, please apologize to Issei. It was rude of you to not only invade his house without proper warning but to also think he had taken advantage of me in my vulnerable state, said Riaz, seriously forgetting that she was the one who invaded Issei's house first, causing Issei to gain a deadpan expression on his face. Of course, Lady Riaz, I apologize for invading your home, for accusing you of vulgar actions, and for inadvertently questioning your masculinity, said Grafia with a bow. Fine, I accept your apology, but I was serious about blasting you if you invade my house one more time, said Issei, a little disgruntled. Sorry about this, Issei. If you can please come to the clubroom early tomorrow, Grafia will be there and you can tell us your plan then, said Riaz before kissing Issei on the cheek again, before walking over to Grafia. Good night, see you tomorrow morning, said Riaz as the two disappeared via magic circle. Like I'm going to get sleep now after having been accused of being a minute man, muttered Issei sourly. Line break. Issei, along with Rainer and Asia, as well as Kiba, who was walking to the club room as well, made their way there. Issei opened the door and everyone filed inside. There was a bit of tension in the air, but that lifted when Riaz saw Issei and smiled. After everyone walked inside there was a small pause before Grafia spoke. You do realize there is a fallen angel in this room, said Grafia plainly. Yes, and she is bound to me. Try anything and you will have to deal with me, said Issei in a steely tone of voice. My apologies once again, Lord Hayatu. I was unaware that this fallen angel was bound to you, as well as the fact that you are the wielder of the boosted gear, said Grafia, giving a slight bow from the couch. Call me Issei. I'm only 17, not 700, and your apology is accepted once again, said Issei. You are most kind, Issei. Also forgive me for not introducing myself properly previously. I'm a maid that serves the house of Gremory. As you know, my name is Grafia. Pleased to make your acquaintance, said Grafia as she stood up and gave a bow along with her introduction. That's all right. As I'm sure you know by now, I am Issei Hayatu, holder of the Red Heavenly Dragon. Nice to meet you under better circumstances, said Issei, giving a bow as well. Now before I hear your plan, Issei, I believe I should explain the situation to the rest of you, said Riaz before the magic circle on the floor started to glow, causing Riaz to scowl. Flames came out of the magic circle as the room heated up and the silhouette of a man appeared. Once the flames cleared, a man wearing a red suit without a tie, with the shirt open to his chest, was revealed. It has been a while since I last came to the human world. My lovely Riaz, I have come to see you, said the man. Riser, said Riaz in an annoyed tone. Riser immediately walked over to Riaz and tried to force her into coming with him to see some ceremony hall, which she resisted. Isn't it in bad taste to try and force a woman into doing something she doesn't want to? Surely you have more class than this, said Issei, bringing Riser's attention to him. And who might you be? Asked Riser rudely. Issei Hayatu, holder of the boosted gear, said Issei in a firm tone of voice. Really, a commoner like you holds one of the two heavenly dragons? I almost feel bad for it, being placed into such a pitifully weak person, taunted Riser. Perfect, his arrogance is even greater than I had thought Issei with a smile. Oh, is that so? My, what can a pitifully weak person such as me hope to do against a great devil such as yourself? Said Issei mockingly. Watch your tongue, boy. I am Riser Phoenix, a pure-blood high-class devil, and the third son of the house of Phoenix. A pathetic lowlife such as yourself should address me as Lord Phoenix, said Riser menacingly. Is that so? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Retorted Issei. Oh, and what do you mean by that? Asked Riser. Well, how about a challenge? I know you came here for Riaz, so why not make things easier since we both know Riaz want nothing to do with you? Proposed Issei calmly. What? Snarled Riser at being reminded that the object of his affections wanted nothing to do with him. A battle of sorts between us, said Issei. If I may, Issei, I would like to interject something here, asked Grafia politely, to which Issei nodded. Those from the House of Phoenix as well as Lord Surzech had a feeling things would not go smoothly here today and decided upon a last resort of sorts, said Grafia. A last resort? Asked Rias. Yes, if you continue to push your opinion on the matter, then why not settle it in a rating game against Lord Riser? Suggested Grafia. Just what I was expecting, thought Issei happily. Rias was stunned at the suggestion. Just how far are they all intending to interfere with my life? Questioned Rias in a ticked-off tone of voice. So does that mean you decline? Asked Grafia. No, this is an opportunity I can't pass up, said Rias. Ah, Rias, you can't be serious. Your peerage isn't even half complete while I have a full set. I've already competed in multiple rating games and won most of them while you haven't even been in one. Even so, you still want to play, Rias, said Riser cockily. I will blow you away, Riser, said Rias fiercely. Fine, if you win do whatever you like, but if I win, you will marry me immediately, said Riser. Understood. I, Grafia, have confirmed both sides' opinion. I will be in charge of the game between the two households. Is it okay? Asked Grafia. Both Rias and Riser agreed. Very well, I will inform both houses immediately, said Grafia. Actually, Grafia, could you wait for a bit longer? Asked Issei kindly. Grafia nodded surprisingly enough and stayed, to which Issei gave a grateful nod. This match will be a joke, said Riser as he clicked his fingers and the magic circle on the floor glowed. 15 figures appeared from the circle and Issei couldn't help but notice one thing. What the hell, he already has 15 girls at his side, a massive harem, and he still wants Rias. Unforgivable, thought Issei angrily. Riser, I hope you didn't forget already I want to make a deal with you, said Issei sternly. Ah yes, the little peasant, what is this deal you want to make? Asked Riser mockingly. Seeing your peerage now, I do believe I can make you a better offer than the one currently in place, said Issei. Sorry about this, whispered Issei to Rainier before nudging her forward. I propose an alternate deal. I will combat members from your peerage equal to the strength of my own in terms of evil pieces. The wager being that should I lose I will submit myself, the holder of the boosted gear and the fallen angel bound to me, Rainier, said Issei, nodding to Rainier, who took this as the signal to transform into her true form, earning a lecherous grin from Riser, as well as Ria's hand in marriage immediately, said Issei, getting a gasp from Rias. Issei, what are you saying? Asked Rias in shock. What is it you want if you, as unlikely as it may be, beat the members of my peerage? Asked Riser with a hungry gleam in his eye. You will give Rias 2 weeks of time for her and her peerage to train, and the pieces that lose against me become mine. Although I will eject the evil piece from them for you to use again, but you cannot do so until after the rating game with Rias. Agreed. Asked Issei. Issei, what are you saying? Cried Rias, but Issei just looked at her with no trepidation in his eyes, which slowly calmed Rias down. What do you say? Asked Issei. Riser took a quick glance at Rainier, Issei, and then his peerage and smirked. I agree, Rias, do you? Asked Riser. Rias looked unsure for a moment before looking to Issei again for support, who mouthed, trust me, to her. Very well, I accept, said Rias. Excellent. Grafia, I don't suppose you would be able to test how much I am worth in terms of evil pieces? Asked Issei. Indeed I can. Master Surzech is good friends with Lord Astaroth, and he has explained a great deal about the evil piece system to me. Please place both your hands over mine, said Grafia, stepping forward. Issei stepped forward and placed both his hands over Grafia's. A bluish-silver glow surrounded Grafia's hands before looping around Issei's hands 3 times, forming a sort of gauntlet. After a few moments the chains receded, and the glow faded from Issei's hands. Issei is worth the equivalent of 8 pawn pieces, said Grafia as she stepped back. Very well, in that case Carlamine and Zulan, my knight and rook, will be adequate enough to put you in your place, said Riser as 2 girls stepped forward. Carlamine was a young woman with brown hair with a greenish tint and green eyes. Her outfit consisted of a full set of silver armor with black accents that appeared to be a cross between a European knight's, the chest plate, gauntlets and greaves, and a Japanese samurai, the hip plates and shoulder guards, and wore a headband that went across her hair and forehead. She was equipped with a broadsword and a dagger, both of which were held with brown belts slung across her hip. The broadsword was slung on her left hip and featured a red jewel on the pommel and had bandages across the handle for grip. The dagger, which was located behind her hip, featured a gold hilt with bandages on the handle. Zulan was a well-endowed young woman of Chinese descent with shoulder-length black hair and blue-green eyes. Her hair had 2 Chinese-style buns on both sides of her head, while the front featured bangs that form a slight V-shape across her forehead. Her outfit consisted of a navy blue, body-hugging, one-piece dress with gold accents, a white sash around her stomach, and black, low-heeled shoes. The dress was open at the chest area, giving view to Zulan's breasts and cleavage. She also wore black armguards over her forearms. Very well then, shall we? Asked Issei rhetorically. Line break. Issei, Zulan and Carlamine were projected into a replica of the school's gymnasium by Grafia. Riser's group and Ria's group stood on opposite sides of Grafia, Riser on her left and Ria's on her right as they watched. Riser appeared happy while Rias looked a bit nervous. Too late to back out now, Rias. The boy has no chance and soon you will be mine, said Riser arrogantly. Oh, we will see about that, retorted Rias scathingly as she glared at Riser with as much anger as she could. Very well, are the 3 of you ready? Asked Grafia, her voice being projected into the gymnasium. Yep, said Issei happily while Zulan and Carlamine settled for nodding. Very well then begin, said Grafia. Issei immediately summoned his sacred gear and shouted boost, which was mirrored by the gauntlet. You better attack soon because the longer you wait, the more powerful I'll get, said Issei after they continued to stare off with him for 10 seconds, allowing him to boost once again. Zulan charged at Issei with a strong guard up and threw a right roundhouse kick at Issei's face, which he initially ducked under, but then quickly jumped away from, as Zulan's foot was covered in fire. He had no time to think upon this new development as a sword engulfed in flames came down upon him, which he narrowly dodged by jumping backwards. So both can utilize fire. Cool, thought Issei. Zulan charged Issei again with an axe kick, which Issei dived under, allowing him to notice something. Wow, she isn't wearing underwear, thought Issei in excitement. Issei quickly jumped back to his feet and leapt over a flaming horizontal slash, courtesy of Carlamine, tucking both legs into his chest. Somersaulting in midair, Issei lashed out with an axe kick of his own to Carlamine, which she blocked with her left gauntlet, surprising Issei at the strength she possessed as a knight. Issei jumped back once again, trying to keep both of his enemies in front of him. For a knight, she has pretty strong defensive capabilities, thought Issei. Boost came from Issei's sacred gear a third time. Well, I suppose 3 boosts should be enough to finish this, but a 4th wouldn't hurt. Riser, watch closely. In 10 seconds you will be 2 pieces short of a full set, said Issei loudly. Ha, you won't be able to beat us so easily. Our honor is on the line here today, said Carlamine, before charging at Issei again with her flaming sword. Issei tilted his body to the side to avoid her repeated slashes at his torso. Carlamine then leapt in the air and came down upon Issei with a 2-handed slash, which Issei stopped by grabbing the blade in the middle, ignoring the flames as his boosted gear protected his hand from the searing heat. Hiyo, shouted Zulan as she launched a devastating side kick into Issei's chest, which he couldn't block with one hand and thus was kicked back, releasing Carlamine in the process, who stood next to Zulan as Issei got back to his feet. Damn, that hurt a lot. You're good, both of you, but this is it, said Issei, the front of his blazer and shirt having been mostly burned off and only still clinging to him by a few strands over his shoulders. Boost, said Issei, which was mirrored by his gauntlet. Now let's end this, said Issei. Explosion emanated from the sacred gear. Issei gathered energy up in his gauntleted hand before a sphere 3 times the size of his normal dragon shot appeared. Sorry, but you lose, said Issei to the Rook and Knight. Mega Dragon Shot, shouted Issei as a 10-meter wide blast of red energy burst forth and quickly overwhelmed the 2 girls. As the smoke died down, an absolutely massive trench was left in the middle of the fake gym, and a gigantic hole now took up most of the back wall. Lord Riser's Rook and Knight both retire, echoed Grafia's voice, and before Issei knew it he was back in the Occult Research Club room. Wow, even my shirt is back, commented Issei, looking down before an ecstatic Rias tackled him into a hug. I can't believe you won. Don't you ever use me in a wager again without giving me prior warning. Oh, but thank you so much, said Rias, her mood changing rapidly. No hard feelings, Rainier? Asked Issei to the other person involved in the wager. Rainier glared at him before sighing. No, I suppose not, said Rainier with the beginnings of a bemused smile on her face. Enjoy this little victory while you can, Rias. Know this, it matters not. You are still going to be mine, so enjoy your last 2 weeks of freedom while you can, said Riser as he motioned for his peerage to follow him to the magic circle. Hey, aren't you going to wait to say something to the 2 pieces that fought for you? Asked Issei, angrily gesturing to the 2 unconscious girls seated on the couch. No, they were weak. Losing to someone as pitiful as you, it is ill-befitting for peerage members of the House of Phoenix, said Riser disdainfully as he walked over to the magical circle before turning around as his peerage surrounded him. TCH, hold on, you smug bastard, said Issei as he stood over the forms of the 2 girls, and 2 magic circles appeared over their hearts before their respective pieces were ejected from them. Issei threw the pieces at Riser, who deftly caught them. There, you ungrateful bastard, as agreed. Now you can add 2 more girls to your peerage who you don't give 2 shits about, said Issei angrily. Riser merely scoffed before he and his peerage disappeared. No wonder you don't want to marry that guy. He is the biggest ass I've ever seen in my life, said Issei to Rias, who nodded in agreement. So what are you going to do with the 2 of them? Asked Rias, gesturing to the 2 abandoned peerage members. I suppose I'll take them home, since I don't know how long it will be until they wake up. Rainier, could you watch them until they wake up? Asked Issei, to which Rainier nodded. Good, we need to get started, said Issei. Started for what? Asked Rias. Obviously, help train you all. I'm sure you and Akino have me trumped in the magical department, and Kaneko has me beat in the power department, just as Kiba has me beat in the speed department, but I can help you build on your strengths and cover your weaknesses, as well as help you with strategy. There is no way I'm letting someone as kind as you be stuck with a pig like him, said Issei passionately. Issei, said Rias in shock. Forgive me, but I must leave now and inform both sides of the deal that has taken place. Good luck, said Grafia with a bow, before she stepped onto the magic circle and disappeared. Well, what are we waiting for? Asked Issei. Line break. Issei was exhausted. Not having any way to teleport left him having to reach Ria's preferred training destination by foot. The problem was it was in the mountains. While Rias and her peerage were able to teleport close to its actual location, Issei had to climb from scratch. Almost 100 kilometers straight up. I feel like I'm going to die, shouted Issei in exasperation. Line break. Eventually Issei reached the mansion, and after promptly collapsing and subsequently being healed by Asia, Issei was ready to go. Now I won't lie, you are seriously outnumbered, but that doesn't mean this is impossible, said Issei. You know, Issei, if you let me, I could reincarnate you as a devil so you could fight with us. I have 8 unused pawn pieces, said Rias hopefully. Issei paused for a long time, which worried Rias, making her think Issei was going to leave them now in their hour of need. Never me, said Rias before Issei cut her off. No, sorry, I should have given you an answer, said Issei as he ran his right hand through his hair while staring at his left. Truthfully, I can't, I'm sorry. I just can't become a devil, said Issei, shooting down Ria's hopes. That's okay, I understand, it was worth a try in any case, said Rias sadly. But it won't matter because once I'm done with all of you, Riser won't stand a chance, said Issei confidently. Line break. Large time skip. Line break. They lost, asked Issei in shock. Yes, they fought valiantly and even managed to take out all of Riser's pieces, but they lost in the end. Kaneko, Kiba and Akino were picked off one by one until only Asia and Rias remained, and after Asia was heavily disoriented by an attack, Rias fought with all her might against Riser's queen and even managed to take her out, but then Riser threatened to kill the still disoriented Asia if Rias didn't submit. Explained Grafia. Bastard. Trust an arrogant bastard like him to resort to such an underhanded method against Rias. Rias never stood a chance, she is too kind to sacrifice someone just for herself, said Issei angrily at first before becoming sad. Grafia laughs quietly. You are an interesting person. For someone with so much power, you are quite open with your emotions and easily offended, and for someone who says he hates devils, you seem to get along rather well with Lady Rias and her peerage and care for them a great deal. Even now you are still trying to help them, said Grafia as she took out a slip of paper. My master, Lord Surzech, found what you did quite interesting, gambling both Rias, yourself and that fallen angel all just to weaken Riser in the process, which you succeeded in. He says you are a risky character, said Grafia as she handed the slip of paper to Issei. This magic circle will allow you to teleport to the engagement hall. All you need to do is add some magical power to it, said Grafia as Issei examined the slip of paper. Lastly, I have a message from Lord Surzech for you. He says, if you want to save my sister, barge into the hall. On the back of the slip is a return seal which will allow you to return once you take Lady Rias back, said Grafia, who then noticed Issei was trembling slightly. So are you telling me that I can use a magical circle to teleport with? Asked Issei in a low tone of voice. Of course, all magic circles only need magical power to be input into them to allow teleportation. Even angels and fallen angels can use them if they get their hands on them, said Grafia calmly. Rias, you made me climb a mountain for nothing, shouted Issei, startling Grafia. Grafia, I want you to go to Rias and tell her that I will be there in 10 minutes, and after I save her her ass is mine, shouted Issei before barging out of his room. Grafia stared at the door through which Issei left, a small smile on her face, before disappearing via magic circle. Lady Rias, you have certainly made some interesting friends. Who would have thought the Red Dragon Emperor for this generation would be so strange? Thought Grafia as she disappeared. Line break. Rias sighed. Here she was about to be shackled to a narcissistic pig for the rest of her life. Bellowed a voice from just outside the engagement hall. Everyone turned to the sound of the voice, and there was Issei, boosted gear and all. Hey, who do you think you are? Said what appeared to be a guard who approached Issei, but one look at Issei's frosty glare and murderous eyes caused him to back off in fright. What is the meaning of this? Asked various people in confusion before Surzech stepped up and explained that he orchestrated this in order to make his cute little sister's engagement a flashy one, and what was more flashier than having a dragon battle with a phoenix. Issei's eyes didn't leave Ria's form for a second, his eyes bore into her. She desperately wanted to know what he was thinking. And then after that I'm going to make you do evasion training, and then you'll spar with me, and then, thought Issei, mentally plotting what he was going to do with Rias after he gets her back for making him climb a mountain when he could have teleported there. So Dragon Boy, what do you want if you beat Riser? Asked Ria's brother. I want Rias back, said Issei in a low tone of voice. Very well, if you win you can take Rias back with you, said Surzech. Line break. Issei and Riser were teleported to what appeared to be a stadium surrounded by numerous pillars adorned with phoenix statues. Well, little boy, are you ready to lose? A weakling like you can never beat someone like me, stated Riser arrogantly. Oh, what's this fool on about? Thought Issei, having zoned off while making more plans on how to punish Rias. You will never be able to stop the immortal phoenix, stated Riser. I will beat you in 5 seconds, said Issei loudly. Maybe in your dreams, retorted Riser. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker, sounded the boosted gear as Issei started to become enveloped in the boosted gear scale mail. Before I end this, let me tell you one thing. You are not worthy of experiencing the power of my balance breaker. But I also don't want to stick around near an obnoxious, arrogant, and selfish chicken like you in case some of your attitude rubs off on me. That being said, I am going to enjoy this, much more than I should in fact, said Issei before his head was covered by the scale mail. Issei slowly started to walk towards Riser. After every step he took he boosted once. Insolent whelp, I will burn you to ashes, shouted Riser as he launched multiple fireballs at Issei. Issei batted the attacks aside, barely feeling the heat at all. His physical conditioning and dragon-like traits due to sacrificing his heart being enhanced by his sacred gear made him more than a match for the flames of a phoenix. When Issei was 5 steps away from Riser, he stopped and pulled out a vial. "Boosted gear gift," said Issei quietly. "Transfer," echoed the boosted gear. "Now Chicken Boy feel pain," shouted Issei before closing the last 5 steps between them in an instant, slamming the vial into Riser's face. "It burns," cried Riser in pain as he clutched his face. "Yes, for a devil, no less a phoenix. I imagine you must hate holy water in its raw form. I'm sure it must be quite unpleasant, but after being boosted 20 times you must be in agony. Finally, to finish this one-sided battle," said Issei before rearing his right leg back and kicking Riser straight in his family jewels, which caused him to drop to his knees, clutching them in pain. Issei then released the armor on his right hand and jabbed Riser in the eyes, causing him immense pain before a solid left cross with his gauntlet-clad hand knocked him out and sent him back sprawled onto the ground. Issei stood there impassively as he let the rest of his armor disappear as Ravel Phoenix, Riser's sister, appeared in between them, arms outstretched. "You got a problem with what I just did?" asked Issei rhetorically. Ravel stood her ground even though she was a little afraid of Issei. Issei squatted down so he was looking her straight in the eyes. "If you don't like what I did to your brother, have a look at just what your brother is: uncaring, selfish, and arrogant beyond measure. Still, it is admirable you would try to protect your brother even if he is such an ass. He sure is lucky to have a sister like you," said Issei as he put his hand on Ravel's hair and stroked it, causing her arms to drop slightly and a small blush to cover her face. Issei stood back up and walked over to Rias. He pulled out the paper that got him here, turned it over, and a glow emanated from the paper before a griffin appeared. "Rias, you're coming with me," said Issei as he held out a hand for Rias. Rias took his hand as he helped her onto the griffin as he climbed on after her. "I'll see you guys tomorrow," said Issei to Kaneko, Kiba, and Akino as the griffin took off. "Line break. So that's this generation's Red Dragon Emperor," said Lord Gremory. "Indeed, I suppose our greed got the best of us this time. We already have pure devil grandchildren, but we still tried to force this." "Ah well, I suppose it is in our nature to be greedy," said Lord Phoenix. "Yes, but I too tried to force my greed onto my daughter. I do hope she can forgive me," said Lord Gremory sadly. "I suppose I should thank him. Riser has overestimated the clan and our abilities, thinking us to be unbeatable. This defeat should teach him some humility." "Your daughter has an interesting servant," said Lord Phoenix. Surzich overheard this and went over to clarify the matter. "Oh no, Issei is not a part of my dear sister's peerage. In fact, he quite frankly hated devils until my sister and her peerage helped him see not all devils are bad. After he was scarred by a past incident when 2 strays tried to kill him and his friend when he was a child," said Surzich. "Incredible. Do you mean he is human?" asked Lord Phoenix in surprise. "Not technically. He is more dragon than human due to sacrificing his mortal heart to survive and kill those strays who attacked him when he was young," explained Surzich. "Ah, you know what they say about dragons, Lord Phoenix," said Lord Gremory jokingly. "Yes, their ability to attract others is uncanny. He even seems to have had a great effect on Ravel," said Lord Phoenix, recalling Issei's affectionate gesture and Ravel's response. "Well, I suppose if you can't have another pure-blooded grandchild, wouldn't it be interesting to see the offspring of a dragon and a phoenix?" questioned Lord Gremory. "Indeed, that would be interesting," said Lord Phoenix thoughtfully as he looked at Ravel, who was still a bit off. "Dear sister, it seems you will have lots of competition for Issei's heart," thought Surzich in amusement. Line break. "So Issei, where are we going now?" asked Rias happily. "Ah, there is a special room in my house that I really want you to see," said Issei vaguely with a small smirk. "Oh my, does he mean his bedroom? I feel that this might be a bit fast, but then again, Issei did save me, and he is cute and very powerful," thought Rias, jumping to rapid conclusions. They quickly stopped off at the Occult Research Club where Rias changed out of the wedding gown and put on a spare of her school uniform. Afterwards they flew over to Issei's house. "Ah, here we are," said Issei as they dismounted the griffin, which vanished in a teleportation seal. It was close to midnight, so no one was awake and never saw the griffin fly down from the sky or vanish into thin air. When Issei entered the house, he saw Zulan and Carlamine were still unconscious, which made him frown slightly, and Rainier watching over them. "Oh, hello Rainier. Don't mind us, I will just be taking Rias to that room for some fun. Please don't worry about anything you hear, you can go to sleep now if you want," said Issei to Rainier, who looked at Rias pityingly, who missed the glance. Rias was mentally preparing herself for what was about to happen when Issei opened the door to a darkened room and invited her inside. As she crossed the threshold, she failed to find a bed in the darkness. The sound of the door closing and being locked startled Rias slightly, and when the light was turned on, she gazed at what appeared to be a gym. "Oh, Issei," said Rias, preparing to question Issei when she felt Issei grope her breasts roughly and place his head on her right shoulder. Rias moaned and whimpered slightly when Issei removed his right hand and brought the slip of paper Grafia had brought him before in front of Rias. "Rias, can you tell me what this is?" asked Issei huskily as he whispered into her right ear. "It is a T-teleportation seal," replied Rias, her breath coming out slightly labored as Issei tweaked one of her nipples. "Now tell me, can anyone use these?" asked Issei. "Why yes," replied Rias before Issei let go of her and turned her around. Then why did I have to climb a mountain when you could have given me a seal to teleport there? Said Issei with a smile, which Rias frightfully noticed matched Akino's. You see I forgot, said Rias meekly. Rias, I'm only going to say this once, so listen carefully, said Issei as he slowly walked over to the side of the room which had at least 24 balls lined up. What? Asked Rias in trepidation. Dodge, shouted Issei as he started throwing medicine balls at Rias, who was hard-pressed to dodge. Kiba arrived at the club room last and upon entering, felt a strange atmosphere in the room. Kaneko was eating her treats as usual and Akino was giggling a little, something not too out of the ordinary. Asia looked a bit tired, as if she didn't get a lot of sleep last night, something slightly peculiar. Issei seemed to be smiling brightly, the first Kiba had ever seen in their presence. The fallen angel looked sympathetic for some reason. However, it was his king who seemed to be creating the strange atmosphere. She was sitting tenderly and winced slightly every time she moved a little. President Rias, is something wrong? Asked Kiba in concern, to which Akino's giggles increased. She is fine, Kiba, no doubt she had lots of fun yesterday, said Akino, confusing Kiba slightly. Kiba looked at Rias, who was still sitting stiffly with the occasional wince, while Issei's grin seemed to increase in size. Why, you don't mean Rias and Issei, said Kiba, shocked. Yufifufu, Kiba, I didn't know you had such a dirty mind. Thinking Issei and Rias gave themselves to one another, it is so unlike the Prince of Kyo to think such things, said Akino happily. What happened then? Asked Kiba, now thoroughly confused. Oh, nothing, Kiba, I was just making sure your king remembers important details in the future, said Issei nonchalantly. Don't worry, it hurts less and less each time, said Reiner to Rias sympathetically, confusing Kiba once again. So, I just don't know what to make of this situation, said Kiba flatly, as he moved to stand next to Kaneko. I told you, you were a perfect match for Akino, and if you keep this up, you're just proving my point, said Reiner to Issei. That's absurd, two sadists can't match up, it wouldn't work unless one was a masochist, said Issei sagely. I'll be a masochist instead of a sadist if you want me to, I have both in me, said Akino happily, causing Issei's jaw to drop slightly and his eyes to widen. After a small pause, Issei stood up stiffly. I'm sorry, but I need to go now, said Issei in a dead tone of voice, as he slowly walked out of the club room and went home. I think you broke him, commented Kaneko. Yufufu, maybe he should be the M instead then I will really break him, said Akino with a glint in her eye, which scared Reiner a little. Line break. When Issei got home, he went up to another free room in the house and noticed Zulan and Carlamine were still asleep on the bed. Maybe if I bound them and transfer them some energy they will wake up, said Issei aloud in thought. After binding the two, Issei powered up to the level of 2 boosts and transferred the energy between the two. Carlamine stirred slightly and Zulan's eyes tightened slightly. Finally, you two are waking up, said Issei, causing both of them to sit up straight and look at him on his spot near the foot of the bed. What happened? Where are we? Asked Zulan in confusion. We lost, didn't we? Said Carlamine flatly, to which Issei nodded. Yep, you two put up a good fight, but you just didn't have enough in you to beat me, said Issei cheerfully. Whereas Lord Riser, he won't stand for this, demanded Zulan. DFFT probably still recovering after what I did to him, said Issei. You could never harm Lord Riser, accused Zulan angrily. I guess that is why Rias no longer has to marry him and why he is no doubt still recovering from our battle, if you could even call it that. It was more like a one-sided beatdown, said Issei nonchalantly. You beat Lord Riser. By yourself? Asked Carlamine incredulously. Well, yeah, it wasn't even that hard. 1 little bottle of holy water and he was done for, said Issei, slightly off-put at the fact that both of them didn't think he could beat Riser. So what happened? Asked Carlamine. Well, first, do you two want something to eat? I mean, you have been unconscious for just over 2 weeks now, said Issei. 2 weeks? Both shouted in surprise. Yeah, you only woke up because I decided to transfer some of my power to you two, said Issei. After a slight pause, Issei left the room and told them to come downstairs when they were ready. Issei paused, wondering if they would be able to process complex food after not eating for 2 weeks, but ignored the thought as they were devils and human physiology probably didn't apply to them too much, so he started preparing some scrambled eggs for them along with some juice and bread. When the two came down, Carlamine started eating while Zulan stared at the food. How can you sit there and act like nothing is wrong? Questioned Zulan to Carlamine. A good fighter must be well fed at all times, recited Carlamine, before returning to her meal. You know, she does have a point, you really should eat something, said Issei slightly concerned. How can I eat when I don't know where Lord Riser is? Questioned Zulan angrily. You know you no longer possess his evil pieces, you really don't need to refer to him so respectfully, said Issei in slight boredom. Impossible, there is no way Lord Riser would get rid of us, retorted Zulan indignantly. Really? No way. Come on Zulan, open your eyes, he has a harem, I doubt he ever cared for us that much to begin with. We were each just one more girl he could control, said Carlamine bitterly. How dare you say such things, said Zulan angrily, standing up. She is right, you know. Even after I beat you two, he didn't want to stay for a second, saying you two were weak and a disgrace to the House of Phoenix. He almost left before I could give him your evil pieces back, said Issei. But, whimpered Zulan, slumping to her knees. Don't sound so surprised. Counting us, he had 15 girls with him. I bet he probably didn't even care that he lost us as long as he can replace us with someone, said Carlomene sadly. Why were you guys even a part of that guy's peerage anyway? Asked Issei in curiosity. Well, sometime before he found me, I had run into a holy sword user. I didn't know it at the time, being human, but that person was a pretty high-ranked exorcist. I challenged him to a fight, seeing it as a way to test myself, but he looked down on me, calling my blade inferior. He was rather arrogant, but at the same time he was just trying to cover up that he was a coward. He beat me in the end, but seemed to think I was a devil trying to wrest his holy sword from him, since I pushed him to his limits and almost won our fight. Naturally, he brought back reinforcements and they almost killed me, before realizing I was just a human that was adept at using swords. Riser found me and informed me of this and promised to help me get stronger, so the next time I faced someone like that I could hold my own and win. Seeing no reason not to, I agreed, and I've been a part of his peerage ever since, said Carlomene. So the only reason you joined him was to get stronger to ensure your continued survival. Not a bad reason as far as a devil-turned-human goes. Most usually just want power to abuse, said Issei thoughtfully, before turning his gaze to Zulan, who was still on the floor. Well, I actually befriended a devil when I was a little girl. When I was 10, I lived in a small town on an island off the southern coast of Japan in the East China Sea. The devil was a girl like me, and we practiced martial arts together. One day we were practicing, and 3 men came by. They were looking for her family. They weren't home, so it was just the 2 of us. And then they revealed that they were fallen angels and that they had come to kill the girl and her family for being devils. I panicked and didn't know what to do, so I ran. The 3 tried to kill me with their light spears, but my friend tackled me out of the way just in time. As she told me to run and that I didn't need to get involved in this, that it was her battle. I ran home to my parents and told them what had happened. We planned to leave that night and move to one of the larger islands of Japan, or to China. We hadn't decided yet, since both were equally as far away. That night though, as we tried to leave, those fallen angels came by and they, said Zulan, before suppressing a shocked sob. They killed my parents and were going to kill me as well, but then out of nowhere a large fireball came and incinerated the 3 of them. Lord Riser had shown up because those fallen angels had killed the girl and her parents, and they happened to be old friends of his brother. He took pity on me and promised to make me strong so none of my friends would ever have to sacrifice their lives to save me ever again, finished Zulan, before fresh tears sprung from her eyes, remembering the pain of losing her friend, family, and the recent loss of Riser, her hero. Issei's eyes softened after hearing such a tragic story and knelt down and hugged Zulan, letting her cry into his chest. Poor girl, she lost everything, and Riser was her only lifeline. Then he cast her away like common trash, bastard, thought Issei in annoyance. There, it will be all right, comforted Issei as he rubbed her back. After a few minutes, Zulan calmed down and had stopped crying. As she had fallen asleep, Issei carried her over to the couch and laid her down softly so as to not wake her up, before walking back to Carlomene. So I guess she must have idolized Riser since he gave her a new life. Such a shame he was an arrogant ass, or I might have respected him, said Issei aloud. What are you going to do with us now? Asked Carlomene, having finished her meal. What do you mean? Asked Issei in confusion. Well, you are a devil, aren't you? Asked Carlomene, now being a little confused herself. Nope, human. Oh well, kind of. It is sort of complicated, said Issei. What do you mean? Asked Carlomene in shock. Well, you see, when I was a little kid my friend and I were attacked by 2 stray devils, and long story short, I gave my human heart up to temporarily have enough power to kill the 2 before they did anything to me or my friend, and in the process, became a pseudo-dragon of sorts, as my heart is not a human one, but rather a dragon's one, which caused my body to grow differently to adapt to it. Issei explained quickly. Strange, and here I thought you were part of Ria's peerage, said Carlomene. Why do people seem to think that? I hated devils with all my guts until only about a month ago, questioned Issei in annoyance. Well, the only times I saw you was with Rias, so I just assumed. Sorry. Wait a minute, if you hated devils, what changed your mind? I mean, you risked your life for a devil you've only known for a short time, explained Carlomene. Well, Rias did a big favor for me a month ago, and she showed me that not all devils are what I thought them to be like. Like Riser, for instance. I thought all devils were like him. Rias and her peerage, however, showed me that not all devils are that bad. True, she is a bit dumb and did try to get me to join her peerage, but she didn't force the matter and accepted my desire to not become a devil, said Issei with a shrug. So if you are not a devil, what are you going to do with us? Asked Carlomene. To be honest, I really just wanted to weaken Riser so Rias would have a chance to beat him. If he had sent 8 pawns against me, I would have done the same thing, said Issei, getting Carlomene to look down and let out a small sigh. So I am more or less obsolete now, said Carlomene, before feeling a hand cup her chin and lift her face up. No, you are not. You are a person who has been dealt a bad hand at life and deserve a chance at a better one. So why not stick with me? I doubt Riser cared for you 2 all that much, so I will do what he should have and give you 2 everything you deserve and more, said Issei softly. For what purpose? Asked Carlomene. Do you really need one? For what purpose do you want to live? If it is still to get stronger, I will train you. I mean, not to brag, but I did knock Riser out in less than 10 seconds, said Issei. Carlomene thought about his offer, get stronger and be treated better. It was a win-win situation, so the answer was obvious. Very well then, from this day forward I will serve you, said Carlomene passionately. After Zulan woke up, Issei gave her a similar talk to the one he had with Carlamine, and after much persuasion on the fact that Riser abandoned her and didn't deserve her adoration and idolization, she too decided to stick with Issei. Issei told them that they would have to share a room since his house wasn't that big and that there weren't any more spares. The two agreed that they would manage and that it wouldn't be an issue, much to Issei's relief. Line break. "Issei, I'm back," shouted Rainier as she entered the house, seeing as how she had left the meeting when they started taking contracts. Asia, having received one, was not accompanying Rainier today. "Ah, Rainier, great, guess what? Zulan and Carlamine woke up," said Issei, sticking his head out the hallway. "Really?" asked Rainier in surprise. "Yep, they're taking a break from sparring with me, but still, come say hi," said Issei, before going back to his favorite room in the house. Rainier slowly made her way there, seeing no reason to rush, and saw both of them a little disheveled but ultimately fine. "Really, you start them on physical exercise straight after they wake up from a 2-week coma?" questioned Rainier in surprise. "Yeah, unlike you, they had decent physical conditioning before they were bound to me," teased Issei. Rainier stuck her tongue out in response. "What do you want from me? Fallen angels primarily do either hit and run quick kills or seduce others to our side. We don't really need physical conditioning," said Rainier. "So are you to have me believe that the higher tier fallen angels don't maintain combat-ready bodies?" asked Issei disbelievingly. "Well, of course they do. They are top-tier fighters. I was very low down on the power chain," said Rainier. "You two have a strange dynamic," commented Zulan in surprise. "Yeah, for a fallen angel, you're kind of bratty. The ones I've usually met are haughty and full of themselves," said Carlamine, before Issei burst out laughing. "Oh yeah, you were just like that, until I knocked you out in a few hits," said Issei hysterically. "Hey, I told you I was only a lower-tier fallen angel and you were supposed to be a weak human," retorted Rainier, with a blush of embarrassment on her face. Yeah, whatever. Although, since you are here now, maybe you should spar with them next to see how far you've come." "Yeah, that's a good idea," said Issei. "What are you going to do then?" asked Rainier. Just watch, maybe throw something at one of you if you leave a glaring opening or something," said Issei thoughtfully. "Is fighting all you think about? Don't you ever do anything else for fun?" asked Zulan. "Well, I went on a date once. You still never apologized for trying to kill me, you know," said Issei before pointing at Rainier. "Aw, come on, I was shouted Rainier as a small medicine ball hit her leg. "No excuses, you went against orders and nearly screwed your whole faction. Stop making excuses for your mistake," said Issei sternly. "Sigh, I'm sorry. There, happy. Now can we let it go?" whined Rainier. "All right, although while we are at it, what does this Azazel guy look like anyway?" asked Issei. "Well, he has black hair with golden bangs at the front, a goatee, really tall and very charismatic with a smile to match," said Rainier in a slightly dreamy tone. "And do you know if he happens to like fishing and ogling girls' breasts as well?" asked Issei. "He doesn't ogle," said Rainier angrily. "Okay, I need to head out and get some more supplies. I suppose you two can take a break. Maybe you can motivate Rainier into training harder if you want. Other than that, don't burn down the house. Also, I mean that literally, no fire techniques in this house without me being here. Rainier, if you feel up to it, you can have a spar with them. You would benefit a lot from it. In any case, I'll be back in a few hours and bring something back for dinner since I think I'll be a bit late." "Have fun," said Issei before leaving. "So what do you do for fun around here anyway?" asked Carlamine after a while. "Well, I mostly try teasing Issei, although it tends to backfire a lot. Other than that, not much," said Rainier thoughtfully. "Want to spar?" asked Zulan. "Sure, why not?" said Rainier after some thought. Line break. Issei quickly and purposefully walked to the pier. It was close to 5 in the afternoon, and he knew he would be there. He sat down after picking up the spare fishing rod on the pier conveniently located next to the man. "To what do I owe the pleasure of having some company on this fine afternoon?" asked the man Issei had sat next to. "I just felt like going fishing today," replied Issei. "Oh, I see. Do you have some good bait? It helps bring in the bigger fish," supplied the man helpfully. "Well, it is good enough, I suppose," said Issei as he reeled in a small catch. The man watched as Issei unhooked it and sent it back. "Although, small catches help bring the bigger fish in," said Issei as he recast his line. "What if the bigger fish don't rise to the bait?" questioned the man. "They will eventually, as the small fish take the bait. Bigger fish become more anxious to find the source of food, and then," said Issei before pulling up a fish around a meter long. "They're caught hook, line, and sinker, but if they are released again, they go about their life just as they normally would, not caring that they came dangerously close to trouble," said Issei. Issei stood up after setting the fishing rod down. "Well, I might head home. I have 3 birds waiting for me and I need to tell them that the fish didn't take the bait today," said Issei. "You know, if you wait a bit longer after throwing back a big catch, it comes back eager to get more food," said the man, gesturing towards the same fish Issei had caught, which was swimming around the area where Issei had cast his line. "I see. Has the crow taken the bait?" asked Issei vaguely. "Not tonight, it seems. Perhaps it is waiting for the darkness to set upon the land," said the man. "See you around then," said Issei before walking off. Issei paused and turned his head back slightly. "Azazel," said Issei before walking home, only stopping to pick up some grilled chicken skewers on the way. The man continued to sit there after Issei left and continued to fish and throw his catch back. "So you are in fact still a human, it seems, for the most part anyway," I suppose it is good. Still, after what will happen shortly, I wonder what side you would take if it came down to it, said Azazel, before standing up and leaving with the 2 fishing rods and an empty bucket of bait. Line break. When Issei arrived home, he was deeply surprised. Mom, Dad, you guys are back already? Asked Issei, seeing his parents sitting in the living room, his father chatting with the trio Issei had left behind, while his mother talked with Asia, who had luckily arrived before them. Oh, hello, Issei. We were just talking with your friends while we waited for you. Mind explaining who these people are? Asked his mother, worrying him slightly. Oh, crap, thought Issei nervously, before a quick stroke of brilliance struck him. Ayuma and Asia are cousins from Italy. They were lost since everything here is Japanese, so I invited them to stay here since we go to the same school and are in the same class, and I've been helping them learn Japanese, said Issei, mixing equal amounts of truth with his lies, so the girls could at least partially play along. Yes, Issei has been very helpful. He gave me little tricks to remember all the hiragana and katakana by likening them to certain pictures, said Asia, which was true. Indeed, Issei has helped me and my cousin adjust to Japanese life quite well, said Rainier, who had the presence of mind to change back into her other form when she felt too non-hostile. Human energy signatures arrive at this house. Also, these 2 moved here recently. Carlamine came from England and Zuelan from China, and since I was quite successful in helping Asia and Yuuma integrate into Japanese culture, it was suggested I do the same with them as well, said Issei, while thinking he had suggested they live here himself. But they didn't need to know that. All they needed to know was that someone suggested the idea, so what if it was him? We are sorry if this is an inconvenience, said Zuelan apologetically, bowing slightly from her sitting position on the couch. Yes, we didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, said Carlamine sadly. Oh no, that is quite all right. You are all more than welcome to stay, although, have you made sleeping arrangements? Asked Issei's mum. Yes, everything is fine. When Carlamine and Zuelan arrived, I moved into my cousin's room. We enjoy it since we are very close, and getting another bed and there was little trouble at all, said Rainier with a charming smile. Good, I would hate to think you didn't have a room to sleep in. Sadly, aside from Issei's room, we only have 2 spares and a guest room, said Issei's dad. Wait, when did Rainier get a bed into Asia's room? Thought Issei in puzzlement, before remembering something. Oh, I bought some yakitori, although there may not be enough, since I didn't expect both of you to be home today, sorry, said Issei sheepishly. Ah, that's all right. Your mother and I had some dango on the way here, so we aren't that hungry. Honestly, go ahead and eat. Growing bodies need food after all, said Issei's dad, making Issei's eye twitch in amusement. Still not very subtle, are you, Dad? Thought Issei in amusement. Dinner was a lively affair. With the living situation explained, Issei's parents were much warmer to the fore, dubbing them their unofficial daughters, something which slightly irked Issei for reasons unknown to him. After eating, Issei mentioned that they should all finish off their homework before going to bed, with Issei discreetly gesturing that they all come to his room without his parents noticing. It was a good 30 minutes later until all 5 supernatural beings gathered in Issei's room. Okay, I suppose I should have seen this coming, so I need to make a few things clear. Rainier, you might not like this, but as long as they are around, you need to stay in your Yuuma form, said Issei, getting a nod from Rainier. Asia, you can't use any magic in front of them, which includes healing and teleporting via magic circle, said Issei, getting an obedient nod from Asia. This goes without saying, but please don't use any fire-related abilities. Also, Carlamine, if you could, keep your weapons somewhere safe so they don't notice them, said Issei, getting 2 more nods and a verbal response from Carlamine. Don't worry, I hid them with Rainier's help, said Carlamine, pointing at 2 anklets that weren't there when Issei left. Also, I'll need to get in touch with Riaz quickly after this, so you 2 can join our class. If you don't actually go to school, they will get suspicious. Sorry if that is an annoyance, said Issei. No, I don't mind at all. It might be fun, said Carlamine enthusiastically, with Zuelan merely nodding that it wouldn't be an inconvenience. Great. All right, now, I'm going to go to the bathroom and summon Riaz as soon as I find that blasted summoning circle. In the meantime, please try to distract my parents. They always wanted a daughter, so they will love talking to any of you, informed Issei before the quartet left him to his search. Issei was crouched down on the floor searching through the bottom of his closet when he stiffened slightly. Yufufufufu, why do you only think of summoning Riaz? Asked a seductive voice, before he felt 2 firm globular objects press onto his back. Is that what I think it is? Thought Issei slowly, feeling 2 slender arms wrap around his torso and pull him deeper into whatever was causing the sensation on his back. Akino? Questioned Issei, not daring to turn around. Ara, so you know it is me. How cheeky to recognize me from only my voice. Have you been having lewd fantasies about me? Asked Akino. Or maybe you realized it was me thanks to something else, suggested Akino as she pressed her bust harder against Issei. How did you even get here? If you used a magic circle I would have noticed, asked Issei nervously, but also genuinely curious. A woman never reveals her secrets, Issei, whispered Akino huskily into Issei's ear, making him shiver slightly. My poor little dragon, are you cold? Maybe I should warm you up, said Akino as she draped her body around Issei and pulled him towards her more tightly. Oh man, I'm not going to make it, thought Issei, feeling little Issei start to rise. So Akino, do you think that you will be able to get Zuelan and Carlamine to be able to go to Kyo? asked Issei desperately, trying to take his mind off what was happening to him. She smells like lavender and those boobs are so big, I can't take much more of this, thought Issei, feeling his arousal growing dangerously. It shouldn't be a problem, it won't be hard at all in fact, although I can't say that about everything, said Akino throatily as she placed her head on Issei's shoulder and looked down. Naughty Issei, getting excited over little me, I don't think you could be the S between us. Why don't you be the M? I know you remember what your date wore when she tried to finish you. Did you know that I have something very similar to it? Said Akino, freezing Issei. My mind, I'm done, said Issei weakly. Giving up so soon? Oh well, I suppose I can go, said Akino with a fake whining tone. Akino, said Issei in discomfort, feeling Akino's hands roam across his body. Her hot breath in his ear, his pants were not designed to take this much torture. Yufifufu Issei, you naughty boy, I'll let you go this time, but you're mine, my little kuai, said Akino, before letting go of Issei and leaving without Issei noticing. I need a freezing cold shower, said Issei before proceeding to do just that. When Issei walked to school, he usually garnered his fair share of stares. Rainier and Asia appealed to two large crowds, and seeing both with Issei got lots of people talking and discussing possible relationships between the three. Some ventured Issei was building a harem, while some of the more lecherous suggested the idea that Rainier and Asia were in fact together and Issei was being used as a front. Understandably, when Issei showed up with two more girls who were just as appealing as the aforementioned two, whispers broke out instantly, eventually growing into a cacophony of sound. I knew this would happen, muttered Issei with a sigh as he rubbed his right temple in exasperation. Carlamine was clad in the standard uniform for girls, but her skirt was obscenely short, reaching only a quarter down her thighs, while Zulan was also wearing the girls' uniform. But her skirt reached just past mid-thigh, however it was a size smaller than it should have been and very tight on her, hiding the fact that she lacked undergarments. Just wait for your two friends to find out, said Rainier with a smile, already picturing the ridiculous accusations that were soon to follow. Don't remind me please, whined Issei. Issei, how could you do this to us? Shouted two male voices. Ugh, you just had to bring them up, said Issei to Rainier, who was smiling happily. Issei, why are you walking around with 4 girls while Matsuda and I can't even get one? Questioned Madohama angrily. Yeah, why don't you share with us? Asked Matsuda in a similar tone. Oh, for the love of Sai, okay, this should settle things, muttered Issei, before striking the two with a clothesline that sent them flying. They aren't toys to share, shouted Issei, before moving on with the 4 girls following him. Darn, why does Issei get a harem and we get nothing? Questioned Madohama. You guys are creepy, that's why, commented a passing Murayama. Plus you guys are perverted beasts, added Katace, leaving a teary duo of perverts behind. Line break. You've been causing quite a stir today, haven't you, Issei? Said Rias, inwardly happy that Issei was suffering in some form after what he did to her. Yeah, honestly, this school is filled with people who love to gossip on baseless accusations and complete crap, said Issei, slightly annoyed. Oh, so you aren't building a harem? How sad, said Rias. Why, you want to join in too, said Issei, getting Rias to stammer. You mean, with all 4 of them? You? Questioned Rias, flabbergasted. Yep, is that a problem? Asked Issei with a smirk. Are you using protection? Asked Rias. What the hell are you talking about? Why do I need protection from these 4? Said Issei, pointing at Rainier and Carlamine, who were watching the scene with amusement, while Asia seemed confused and Zulan seemed bored. Wait, what did you mean then when you asked me if I wanted to join? Asked Rias in confusion. Living at my house, of course, although there isn't any more room anyway, said Issei with a laugh. Aura, not even for me, said a voice that appeared behind Issei, making him jump slightly. Akino, when did you get here? Questioned Issei in surprise. Oh, are you changing the subject because of last night? Asked Akino in a sad voice. What happened last night? Asked 5 different voices in varying intensity, while Kaneko continued eating a biscuit, while Kiba merely smiled at the scene. And nothing, why are you all looking at me like that? Questioned Issei defensively. Oh, I was with Issei in his bedroom last night, that's all, answered Akino with a smile. I knew you were perverted, said Rainier. Is coming from someone whose mind is always in the gutter. Deadpanned Issei. So what happened last night then, huh? Probed Rainier. Nothing. Akino came by yesterday when I was looking for that stupid summoning circle and I asked her if she could get Zulan and Carlamine enrolled, said Issei defensively. Akino leaned over the couch and hugged Issei from behind, pushing the back of his head into her cleavage. I don't think that is all that happened, but if you want, I guess I can keep it a secret, whispered Akino, getting Issei to blush slightly. As Rainier and Rias noticed the blush, they were about to comment on it before someone knocked on the door of the clubroom. After a brief pause, the student council entered, which was largely made up of girls with only a single boy, the new receptionist if Issei remembered right. Student president, said Issei in confusion. Oh, so you didn't mention us to Mr. Hayato, Rias, I'm surprised. I thought you would have told him about the other group of devils at this school, said the student president Sona Citri. Sona was the 3rd most popular girl in the school and the most popular among girls and gave off a very strict and scary aura. Ah, Sona, we were getting to something good, whined Rias, before Issei took this moment to move well and truly away from the previous topic of conversation. Thank you, Sona-senpai. Knowing that you were a devil long ago, it is only now I made the connection. Thank you for seeing to the enrollment of Rainier, Asia, Carlamine, and Zulan. Also, please call me Issei. Mr. Hayatu makes me feel old, just like when Grafia called me Lord Hayatu. I'm only 17 after all, said Issei as he stood up and gave a small bow. Very well, you are welcome, Issei, said Sona coldly, but that might have just been due to her strict personality. Yeah, it is thanks to us working in the day that you guys have a peaceful school life. It won't be bad for you to remember that, you know. By the way, I am Genshiro Saji and I'm President's pawn, said the only male of the student council. Said Issei at the forceful introduction, unsure what to make of it. You know, I consumed 4 pawn pieces, I won't lose to someone like you, said Genshiro. Said Issei once again, not knowing how to respond. Please stop this foolishness, Saji. Issei is not even a devil and was the one who defeated the 3rd son of the House of Phoenix, with relative ease I might add, said Sona, in a tone tinged with the slightest amount of annoyance. This guy beat Riser and he isn't even a devil. What are you then? Asked Genshiro in shock. You know, just your average everyday badass, replied Issei jokingly. Saji, we came here to introduce ourselves to the recent editions of the Occult Research Club, not to antagonize Hayatu, or rather Issei, said Sona. The 4 girls behind Issei stepped up and introduced themselves. As Genshiro went to shake their hands, Issei grabbed his first and almost shattered his hands. Yes, we are all pleased to meet you and introduce ourselves to you, said Issei with a smile, closing his eyes. To think you are building up a harem and hogging all the new girls. I hope divine punishment falls on you. I wish lightning strikes you on your way home, said Genshiro, in a tone that was equal parts anger, envy, and annoyance. I suppose the only lightning that would strike me would be Akino's then, although I appreciate you not giving her any ideas, said Issei as he removed his hand. Oh, but if you let me, I'll promise you'll enjoy it, said Akino as she licked her finger, causing Genshiro to back off slightly. No thanks, I'm fine, said Issei with a smile identical to Akino's. 2 sadists sure do make an interesting atmosphere, commented Rainier, dispelling some of the tension in the room. In any case, we just came to introduce ourselves. I love this school. I also think that the work of the student council is worth the effort. That's why I will not forgive those that ruin the peaceful life of this school, whether they are human, fallen angel, or devils. That applies to you, the people in here, and also Rias, said Sona offhandedly. We understand, Sona-senpai, we appreciate it, thank you once again, said Issei with another bow, which Asia, Rainier, Carlamine, and Zulan copied, after which the student council left. So, what happened last night? Asked Rias, bringing the old topic of conversation back up, before Issei left for the bathroom. Line break. When Issei came back he heard Rias telling Asia about familiars while the rest of them had their familiars with them. Do you think we can come too? Asked Issei. Well, I'm not sure. The forest is primarily for devils to receive their familiars. I'm not sure if fallen angels or humans can go to it, said Rias thoughtfully. Well, you said only devils can get familiars, but what if we just go there for fun and let Asia be the only one to get a familiar? Asked Issei. I suppose there wouldn't be any harm in it, said Rias reluctantly. Out of curiosity, do you two have familiars? Asked Issei to Zulan and Carlamine. No, Riser never took the time to let his peerage get familiars, responded Carlamine, with a shake of her head. Can they get familiars? Asked Issei. Technically I suppose they can. It is uncommon for devils not part of a peerage to get familiars, but not unheard of, replied Rias. All right then, let's go, said Issei enthusiastically. As the group walked over to the magic circle, they tried to teleport, but it didn't work. Sigh, I was afraid of this. It seems only devils can visit the familiar forest by magic circle. Sorry about this, said Rias. That's alright I suppose. It would have been cool to see a load of familiars, but it isn't the end of the world. See you guys when you get back, said Issei with a sigh, as he and Rainier stepped off the magic circle before the rest teleported. Line break. So what do you feel like doing now? Asked Issei, as he and Rainier aimlessly walked around. Nothing really I suppose. There isn't much to do around here anyway, said Rainier, with Issei nodding in agreement. I suppose, with all the supernatural activity I haven't noticed it that much, but you're right, I want to go to the arcade, suggested Issei. Not really, replied Rainier. Well, what did you do for fun back when you weren't bound to me? Asked Issei, as they sat down on a bench near a park. Honestly, not much. I mean, aside from carrying out my orders, I didn't have much else to do. If you don't want to research scared gears, being a fallen angel can be pretty boring, said Rainier. Well, what do you think you'd enjoy? Asked Issei. Well, most of the things I think I'd enjoy would be sexual activities, said Rainier honestly. Really, is that all fallen angels think about? Asked Issei in curiosity, with a bit of exasperation leaking into his tone. Pretty much. After all, most if not all fallen angels were angels at some point and we fell due to worldly desires, the most common being lust. Since your entire life is more or less defined by why you fell, most fallen angels are interested in sexual things, of course. There are others interested in other worldly desires, lust for battle, lust for information, but the most common reason is simple lust, explained Rainier. So, have you ever done anything? Asked Issei vaguely. Not personally, I was more interested in trying to prove my worth to Azazel, said Rainier with a smile. Wouldn't that mean your most prominent desire is lust for acceptance? I mean, if you were trying to prove your worth to get Azazel's attention, doesn't that mean you wanted him to accept you? questioned Issei. I suppose, man, as far as fallen angel desires go, that is pretty lame, said Rainier. I don't think that at all. In fact, I think it is the most human and understandable one of all. Everyone wants to be accepted by someone, even those who say they don't. People can't live without the acceptance of others, whether it is the acceptance of family members, lovers, friends, or even random strangers. I guess we are weird that way, said Issei thoughtfully. So does that mean you accept me? Asked Rainier shyly. Of course, you're one of my closest friends. Quite frankly, I like you better than most of Ria's peerage because you are easier to relate to. Sure, you tried to kill me, but I can forget about that. I mean, let's face it, you were pretty dumb back then, said Issei happily. You can't just say that, said Rainier angrily. Say what? Asked Issei in confusion. You can't just give someone a massive compliment and then insult them in the next sentence, huffed Rainier with a small blush, which intensified when Issei pulled her against him. Oh, why not? You will always be my not-so-bright light ray, said Issei. Light ray, said Rainier in confusion. Yep, you used a light spear to pierce my heart and your name is Rainier. That's why you will always be my little light ray, said Issei, getting a bigger blush from Rainier, who buried her face in his shoulder to avoid him seeing her embarrassed face. I'm really glad you didn't die when I speared you. To think I almost missed out on meeting someone as weird as you, mumbled Rainier. Issei kissed the top of Rainier's head, getting her to look up at him, eyes swimming with contentment. I'm glad you tried to kill me too, said Issei with a wink and a wide grin. Rainier just buried her head back into Issei's shoulder and gave a sigh of happiness as he held her close, the two staying there for almost an hour, just sitting there enjoying each other's company in a comfortable silence as they watched people go about their everyday lives. Line break. After a while, Rainier dozed off, so Issei took her home so she could rest, carrying her bridal style, her head still buried in his shoulder the whole way. Issei, noticing that Rias and the rest of the devils he knew weren't back yet, decided to go for a walk. As Issei walked around, he started to feel a strong holy aura get closer and closer to his area. Deciding to investigate the source, he followed it. Eventually Issei found the source to be coming from two cloaked figures, one of which carried a massive, bandaged lump with her. Issei decided to tail them to see where they were going. After a short amount of time, the one with the lump suddenly slammed it into the ground and spoke. We know you are following us. What do you hope to gain by doing so, dragon? Said the figure in a distinctly feminine, but also slightly deep voice. Nothing really, just making sure you two aren't up to anything. It is uncommon for two holy people to simply come by here for no reason, even more given this is a devil stronghold with a great deal of fallen angels in it, said Issei, to the backs of the two figures, who as of yet had not turned around. He walked up to them, stopping, only a meter away, just enough space to prepare himself if they got hostile. We have a mission to carry out. If you intend to stop us, we can settle this matter now, said the figure again as she turned her head back, revealing some blue hair with a green bang in the middle of her fringe and a pair of dark yellow eyes. I didn't come here to stop you, I was just curious, although now I am even more interested since I recognize one of you now, said Issei, a small smile starting to appear on his face. I have never met you before, said the blue-haired figure. Indeed you haven't, but your friend has, haven't you, Arena? Said Issei, a larger smile plastered over his face. The second figure turned around, looking at Issei for the first time, revealing some light brown hair. As the figure turned fully, a pair of violet eyes looked at Issei. Issei, questioned Arena. You bet, said Issei, which caused Arena to jump at Issei, causing her hood to fall back, revealing twin-side ponytails, each held with a blue scrunchie, and hug him, something which Issei reciprocated. I missed you so much, Arena, but I never forgot you, mumbled Issei. I'm glad I never forgot you either, said Arena happily. Issei pulled back a little and pulled out the locket Arena gave him so long ago. See, I wore this every day, but it also made me sad, said Issei. Why? Questioned Arena, with almost childlike curiosity. Because I never gave you anything in return, said Issei a little sadly. That's okay, you gave up your heart for me and I could never ask you for anything else, said Arena happily. Who are you exactly? Asked the other figure tactlessly. Moo, Zenobia, why do you have to be so blunt? This is Issei, my best childhood friend. We played together all the time and he saved my life when two devils tried to kidnap me, said Arena. Hi, I'm Issei Hayaudu, said Issei, putting a hand out. I am Zenobia, said Zenobia, as she grasped Issei's hand and shook it. Nice to meet you. Is there any reason you two were heading this way? Asked Issei. Yes, we were looking for the stronghold of the devil that has this town as her territory, stated Zenobia flatly. I see. In that case I'll take you to Kuo, although Rias isn't there right now. However, you should most likely also ask Sona first, said Issei. How are you so familiar with the devils of this area? Have you made a pact with them? Are you on their side? Questioned Zenobia rapidly. While answering in that order, they go to the same school as me. I haven't made a pact with them, but I have helped them out and they have helped me, and I am on no one's side. I am on my side, said Issei. Your side? Asked Zenobia. Yes, I don't mind either of the three factions and I'm fine with things as they are, but anyone who tries to harm me, my family or my friends is an enemy, regardless of who they are, said Issei. Zenobia nodded to this seemingly in thought. So, Issei, can you help us get to the Devil's Stronghold? Asked Irina. Sure, but like I said, Riaz isn't here right now, so you will probably need to come back later. Follow me, said Issei as he led Irina and Zenobia to Kyo Academy, where Tsubaki Shinra, the vice president of the student council, was waiting, expecting them it seemed. You certainly keep interesting company, Red Dragon Emperor, said Tsubaki. Are you the devil in charge of this area? Questioned Zenobia. No, but if it is an audience with the Grimoire Princess which you seek, then I can help you arrange such a meeting. Follow me, said Tsubaki before walking off. So I'll leave you guys for now. Feel free to come by if you want. We still live in the same place, so Irina should know where to go. Bye, said Issei as he walked off in the opposite direction of Tsubaki with a wave. Bye, Issei, we will come visit you soon, said Irina before her and Zenobia followed after Tsubaki. So, Zenobia, what do you think about Issei? Pretty cool, right? Asked Irina. He seems quite powerful, although I felt the lingering presence of a fallen angel on him, and he seems well acquainted with devils, said Zenobia with a hint of suspicion in her tone. Issei wouldn't team up with the other factions, why would he? Retorted Irina. Power, money, followers, women, there are many things men want, and the fallen angels and devils are perfectly capable of supplying them. They are creatures who indulge in their desires, said Zenobia as she glanced at Tsubaki's back as she led them into the main building. Why would Issei need power? You said he is quite powerful already. What would he need money for anyway, or followers? Said Irina. What about women? All men want women, questioned Zenobia. Well, if Issei needs women he can have me, and he knows that anyway, said Irina with a furious blush. Oh Lord, please forgive my sinful heart, amen, said Irina quietly before Zenobia and Irina were led into a room where Sona was sitting, calmly staring at them. Line break. Man, I never thought Irina would have come back here. Still, they had one powerful sword with them. I wonder what could warrant them needing to come by with such firepower, said Issei aloud as he walked home. I wonder, could this be what Azazel was hinting at? Thought Issei, and before he knew it, he was staring at his front door. Entering the house, Issei noticed his dad was reading the newspaper while his mum was washing up. After a quick greeting, Issei headed up to his room before taking off his school uniform and lying down on his bed. What could he have meant? Surely he couldn't have been hinting at them, since he said darkness would set upon the land. Maybe some devils, or maybe some fallen angels are up to something and he was giving me a warning. Although, if he knew that some fallen angels were up to something, wouldn't he stop them? Thought Issei, trying to understand the meaning of Azazel's words in relation to what had happened recently. Line break. The next day. Line break. Hello, my name is Ravel Phoenix. Nice to meet you, said a blonde-haired girl whose hair was styled into two drill-like side ponytail curls. A strange development, muttered Kaneko in response to the newest member of her class. Line break. Why does maths have to be so boring? Thought Issei as he continued to listen to their teacher go on about differential polynomials. I mean, he isn't even trying to make this interesting. Thought Issei with a sigh as he looked out the window. I wish something interesting would happen soon, said Issei before stiffening slightly. Did I just jinx myself? No, it is probably nothing, said Issei, double jinxing himself. Line break. I would like to join the Occult Research Club, Ravel requested. Is there any particular reason as to why? Last time I was near a Phoenix we didn't end on amicable terms, said Riaz with a stern expression. The House of Phoenix decided this would be a good way to show there are no hard feelings as a result of how the engagement ended. Furthermore, it was decided that I be sent here as a show of good faith and join the Occult Research Club as a way to strengthen the bonds between the two houses which have no doubt been strained, explained Ravel with an official tone. Very well, I suppose that is a good reason. In that case, Ravel Phoenix, welcome to the Occult Research Club, said Riaz. Thank you, said Ravel with a small curtsy. As everyone waited for the next guests to arrive, Issei noticed Ravel kept sending him discreet glances, confusing him. Is something the matter? Asked Issei from near the window to Ravel, who was standing near the couch. No, it is nothing, said Ravel as she quickly averted her gaze and looked down slightly. Odd, thought Issei, before a knock on the door brought him out of his thoughts. You may enter, said Riaz, already feeling the holy aura of the two people that were behind the door. Hello, I am Zenobia. Thank you for seeing us, heir of Grimoire, said Zenobia. Yeah, thanks. Hi, you Issei, said Irina happily. Hey, Irina, said Issei, with a small smile at seeing his bubbly childhood friend again. Oh, do you two know each other? Asked Riaz with a slightly suspicious gaze. Yup, tell them, Issei, said Irina cheerfully. Well, you remember how I told you two strays tried to kill me and kidnap my friend, said Issei, getting a small wince from Riaz, who nodded. Well, meet my friend, Irina Shidu, said Issei, to which Irina smiled politely. Nice to meet you, said Irina. Very well, now that the pleasantries are out of the way, can we get down to business? Asked Zenobia bluntly. I suppose. Now what is it exactly that requires the church to send two of its own here? Asked Riaz. Recently the Excalibur swords held by the Catholic Church's headquarters, the Vatican, Protestant Church, and Eastern Orthodox Church were stolen, said Zenobia. Why does that bring you here? Asked Riaz seriously. Both the Catholic and Protestant Church as well as the Eastern Orthodox Church possess two Excaliburs each. One from each of these churches was stolen, while the other swords of the Catholic and Protestant Church are currently wielded by Irina and me, with the last being under heavy security. The ones who stole these swords escaped here to Japan and brought them to this town, said Zenobia, causing Ria's eyes to widen slightly. It seems my area is full of incidents, so who stole the Excaliburs? Questioned Rias. The people who stole them were the Grigori, said Zenobia, getting a gasp from Rainier. That can't be right. The Grigori would never do something like this knowing it could possibly spark another war, said Rainier, defending her faction. Who are you exactly to know of the Grigori's motives? Questioned Zenobia suspiciously. I am a fallen angel, so of course I know a little on the Grigori, stated Rainier matter-of-factly. Is that so? In that case, perhaps we should take you and interrogate you for information, suggested Zenobia as she grabbed the bundle next to her. No, you won't. Rainier may be a fallen angel, but she is no longer affiliated with what they do. She is affiliated with what I do, and you can't touch her, said Issei as he took a step in front of Rainier protectively. Rainier smiled at this, seeing that Issei valued her as a person and would defend her if she needed it. Rainier is also a part of the Occult Research Club, and I too won't let you harm her, said Rias with a nod. I told you they had lured him with women. Can't you see? He didn't know you were available, and now our enemies, both the fallen angels and devils, have bribed him with women, said Zenobia to Irina. Zenobia, you can't just say things like that so openly. Besides, we don't know that for sure. Maybe they have a mutual agreement, said Irina with a small blush. With women as physically attractive as these, you must accept it. Your friend has fallen prey to lust, said Zenobia. Are they ignoring us? Asked Issei, dumbfounded. It would seem so, replied Rias in a similar manner. What are they saying about us being used to turn Issei to the side of our respective factions? Asked Rainier in annoyance. Maybe they think we have seduced Issei and brought him to our respective sides, said Aquino with a giggle. What the hell? Asked Issei in confusion. You must accept it, Irina. Issei has become possessed by lust and is merely being swayed by the women of other factions, said Zenobia, completely ignoring everyone else but Irina. It is not true. Issei would never crumble and become a weak beast of sexual desire, retorted Irina angrily. Believe what you will, but the facts speak for themselves, said Zenobia before Issei cut in. I'll have you know that I am still a virgin. Furthermore, none of them have tried to seduce me, said Issei, pausing for a moment and remembering the time Aquino popped into his bedroom, and if the slight laugh that escaped her was any indication, she knew he was thinking about it. Add to the fact that I have my own interests aside from theirs and am not working for either the devils or the fallen angels, said Issei. It seems that we can still gain an advantage here then. Irina, if you were to, started Zenobia before Irina cut her off. That's enough. We didn't come here to try and sway Issei to our sides, said Irina in embarrassment, knowing exactly what Zenobia would have suggested with her lack of tact. Yes, if you don't mind, I would like to know why you needed to arrange a meeting with me when you know who has taken your Excaliburs, said Rias, bringing the attention back to the stolen holy swords. Very well then. We have sent a multitude of priests and exorcists to this town, but they kept getting killed. We believe this is because the main culprit behind all of this is Cockabeel. Thus our request, no, our order, is to not have devils intrude on this battle, said Zenobia, causing Ria's eyes to narrow and her mouth to become a thin line. The way you word your request. Are you thinking that we might collaborate with the fallen angels to do something with the Excaliburs? Asked Rias. Headquarters does not deem it an impossibility, said Zenobia, getting Ria's eyes to glow with anger. Well, I suppose I can't blame the people higher up in the church for thinking that Ria's group might team up with the fallen angels. After all, thought Issei as he clenched his fist in remembrance, zoning out the current conversation in the room. Issei was brought out of his thoughts when he noticed Irina and Zenobia had stood up and made to leave. Are you the witch Asia Argento? I never expected to meet you in a place like this, said Zenobia. Asia's small frame seemed to shrink at the mention of the word witch. The former holy maiden. You are said to have the power that can also heal devils and fallen angels, right? I heard that you were sent somewhere after getting exiled, but I never thought you became a devil, said Irina in surprise. Asia struggled to say anything, but Irina continued. It is okay, I will not tell the higher-ups what I saw here today. People who were around Holy Maiden Asia will be shocked too if they find out, said Irina. Still, to become a devil, do you even still believe in God? Asked Zenobia. Zenobia, there's no way that she, who became a devil, still believes in God, said Irina. While Irina and Zenobia discussed the possibility of Asia still believing in God, Issei started to get a bad feeling. If that is the case, I should cut you down this instant. If I cut you down in the name of God, even if you have sinned, God will forgive you, said Zenobia. Once again, no you won't. You don't seem to realize that you are overstepping your current abilities in relation to your actions, said Issei, as walked over to Asia, standing in front of her slightly as he faced Zenobia. How so? She is a witch, and if I cut her down now, she still has a chance at redemption. Do you wish to deny her that? Asked Zenobia. You are blind. Asia never sinned. All she did was spread kindness and help people. She didn't even have any friends due to her being kept isolated so she could heal people, said Issei, with a bit of anger seeping into his voice. Do you think a holy maiden needs friends? Asia would have not needed friends as long as she had God's love. Once she sought friendship, she was ruined. Therefore, Asia was never deserving of being a holy maiden in the first place, said Zenobia. You are quite foolish. You say that her just having God's love would have been sufficient. Let me ask you, did the popes of the Catholic Church have family? Did they not have friends? The prophets from the Bibles as well as the saints, while they received God's love, did they not also have worldly support from friends and family? Granted, most prophets were ridiculed and ignored by the majority of unbelievers at the time, but did they not have at least one person who believed in them and supported them? Asked Issei, silencing Zenobia. You preach that God's love was all she needed, but do you even understand the message God tried to explain through Jesus Christ, a man born of human flesh and the Spirit of God? His principal teaching was that kindness, not sacrifices of any sort, was what God wanted from humans. Yet you seek to cut down an innocent girl, an orphan at that, abandoned as a baby. Asia even now has hurt no one and has been killed herself as a result of the greed of others, and yet still doesn't hold any malice or hate and still believes in God. Yet you stand there and pretend to know what is right. You are blind in your righteousness and need a serious reality check. Finished Issei, surprising many at his words. Asia smiled slightly at how Issei defended her, internally thanking the Lord for such a good friend. Rias and her peerage were surprised that Issei was well versed in the Bible, Kiba even more so since he had followed most of what Issei said, having been raised in a church for most of his life himself. While Rainer along with Zulan and Carlamine realized that there was a lot to Issei that they didn't know about, despite living with him, if they had been unaware that he had such knowledge. Ravel was in awe at how Issei conducted himself and how confident he was in his mannerisms, making her really believe that he would never let anything happen to those he cared about. Zenobia was momentarily speechless, finding no fault in what Issei had said, causing her to reconsider her thoughts. Irina meanwhile was shocked, knowing that before she had left for England, Issei knew very little about the church or the Bible, prompting her to wonder just what it was exactly that led to him becoming so knowledgeable about both. Now, with all this being said, I believe you are done here, and with that said, I will be leaving now, said Issei, before leaving the club room. The room was entirely silent as the door closed behind Issei. No one moved for at least half a minute, before Rias cleared her throat. I believe you have your answer. No devil will interfere in your mission, said Rias, earning a nod from Zenobia, before Irina and her left without a word, prompting silence to engulf the room again. Kiba, are you all right? Asked Rias, having noticed Kiba's frustration and anger had been growing throughout the meeting, but had all but disappeared after Issei's monologue. Just fine, however, may I be excused, said Kiba with his usual charming smile. Rias nodded and Kiba left, planning to find Issei, but found that he couldn't sense him anywhere. I never knew Issei knew so much about Christianity, said Asia in wonderment. Ara, it seems Issei is a man of many mysteries, said Aquino in agreement. Issei really is a unique individual. I wonder if this is why he was still kind to me even though I tried to kill him, said Rainer thoughtfully. He certainly is an interesting person, said Zulan with Carlamine nodding in agreement. He is amazing, thought Ravel, too embarrassed to voice her thoughts. He is complex, said Kaneko, a statement which everyone in the room agreed with. Okay, sadly the chapter is over, and if you enjoyed just leave a like, and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.